Chapter 723, Feudal Vassal of a Region. Chapter 723, Feudal Vassal of a Region. The amethyst battleship stopped at a continent which had 3 suns in the sky. Standing on the battleship, Shi Yang lifted his head to watch the 3 massive suns in the sky. As his body was bathed in the thick sunlight, he felt so comfortable while his star martial spirit was taking in the power of the sun. The earth flame in the center of the heaven flame altar seemed to be happy too. Since the earth flame used to fuse with the sun essence, it had the solar energy in its nature. Staying on a continent with the 3 dazzling suns like this, Shi Yang felt quite cozy. The heaven and earth energy on this continent was lavish. Although Shi Yang was standing on the battleship, he could feel his mind refreshed. He understood that it would be quite useful for his cultivation while staying here. In his sight, Shi Yang could see so many lakes and groups of massive palaces. Those palaces were like mountains piercing the clouds. In the center of the lakes and those palaces, flowers bloomed beautifully. Unknown flowers could be seen everywhere, even on the green city walls. This view seemed magnificent to Shi Yang. After the amethyst battleship stopped, several thousand people gathered to greet them. The leader of that group was a Ghost Mark Clan's expert. He had delicate tattoos on his face, outlined by the shoulder-length hair. This expert had a lean body, but his clothes were kind of relaxing styled. He was wearing a green warrior attire, which couldn't be said to be luxurious or precious. His face was filled with sincere and longing smiles. Standing behind him were many warriors, including almost 100 King God Realm warriors. Their auras shot up to the sky, which frightened people. The arrival of Your Highness is Da Lei's biggest honor. Welcome, Princess. The Ghost Mark Clan's leader expert pitched his voice cheerily and openly. He took several hurried steps to greet her from afar. A young Ghost Mark Clan's member stood behind him. This man had some similar features as his leader. His eyes sparkled, gazing at Princess Zi Yarrow without blinking. Apparently, he had a deep admiration for her, and he didn't mind showing it. Princess Zi Yarrow smiled implicitly. She descended off her amethyst battleship, talking tenderly. Having Uncle Da Lei guarding this region, my father could ease his mind. I'm passing by just to send Uncle Da Lei my father's appreciation. Thank you for keeping this area peaceful. As the feudal official, it's my duty to erase the worry and solve the troubles. I don't dare to show my achievement, Da Lei laughed. Please, Your Highness, please join our party. I've arranged everything for you. Shi Yang walked together with Berg's team, getting off the purple battleship. He eyed Da Lei, the leader, and he couldn't hide his surprise. Shi Yang felt no energy fluctuation on Da Lei's body. At first glance, he was just an ordinary person. However, the warriors standing behind him all had the aura of the high mountains or the deep ocean. Their energy fluctuations were all earth-shaking. Shi Yang shuddered inside, as he immediately recognized that Da Lei was absolutely a supernatural expert. The one who could conceal all of his aura and reveal nothing to the outer world must have a tremendous realm, which he didn't dare to imagine. Ah, my prince, you also came here. Excellent. Today is my lucky day. My prince and princess are here. Such an honor has touched me so much. Da Lei looked at Du Feng, who had arrived the last. His face was joyful as he screamed continually. Greetings, Uncle Da Lei. I wish you could increase your realm to another level and expand your territory with more experts under your command. Du Feng slightly bent his body, his face natural. Thank you, Da Lei laughed cheerily. As your golden mouth has wished me the best, I must try my best effort. Haha, perhaps I can borrow your luck. I can feel the sign of breaking through recently. I think your wish has its effect then. Da Lei seemed to be in a good mood as he thundered his happy words. Standing behind him were the experts under his command. They stood upright, making their auras stronger and more intimidating. Zi Yarrow, Du Feng, and the others had a streak of fear in their eyes, their faces panic-stricken. Shi Yang's face remained as calm as usual. However, he was shaken inside. He was more surprised while looking at Da Lei. Da Lei had reached a realm Shi Yang didn't dare to estimate. And now he said that he was about to break through again. This man was really frightening. If it happened that way, it was him prevailing over them from the very first encounter. Shi Yang was good at reading people's words and countenance. He could see how uneasy Zi Yarrow and Du Feng were, so he understood that what Da Lei said had given them a headache. It was a feeling of finding the way to get off the tiger once one got on its back. Then, we have to congratulate Uncle, Princess Zi Yarrow smiled. Her beautiful eyes moved, falling on the young man standing behind Da Lei. Brother Da Meng, are you about to break through, too? The young man of the Ghost Mark clan was shaken. He cracked a smile and then nodded. Your Highness has such bright eyes. I think it will take 3 years max to enter the King God realm. Haha, it's my father who cares about me a lot. He has collected a lot of spiritual pellets and medicines to help me advance. Zi Yarrow's eyes sparkled but her heart sank to the bottom. She peeked at Shi Yang meaningfully as she was sighing in her heart. She was hesitant now, whether it was a good idea or not. Da Meng had been so intimidating already. At the third sky of True God Realm, he could battle with a King God Realm warrior under Da Lei's force. Although the other hadn't tried his best, it was enough to prove that Da Meng was prominent. If he could reach the threshold to break through again, he must have made some attainment recently. This was what was dangerous about Da Meng. He was about to reach a new realm. Zi Yarrow didn't favor Shi Yang especially, and on hearing Da Meng, she became even more worried. Now, she was afraid that Shi Yang would be defeated right when he joined the battle. At that time, Da Lei and his son wouldn't be scared, but it would help increase their pride and arrogance even more. She suddenly got a headache. My son didn't just boast. I've checked him carefully. He's at the threshold, indeed. Da Lei laughed contentedly, glancing at Zi Yarrow and Du Feng. A mysterious pride appeared in his eyes. Zi Yarrow's mood became heavy. Du Feng and Berg also signaled her to give up the idea of letting Shi Yang combat with him. It would save their faces and the imperial prowess. Zi Yarrow frowned, but she didn't reveal her thoughts, just glancing at Shi Yang, as if she were asking for his opinion. Shi Yang's bearings were neither scared nor surprised. He looked at her straight in the eyes and nodded slightly. Zi Yarrow was amazed. She looked at him for a while. Her hesitant thought seemed to get clearer. It was unknown why, but on seeing Shi Yang's natural posture, she felt that she still had hope betting on this battle. Shi Yang had something that could ease her mind, giving her an unclear trust. Shi Yang had soon known who was going to be his opponent. The aura and energy surging from Da Meng's body was tremendous and intimidating, which was much more exaggerated than Bao Ao and Jie Ji. It was true that he was about to break through. If Shi Yang hadn't broken through to the second sky of True God Realm, going through the period of arduous practice and his tough self-training, he wouldn't dare to agree with her. However, he understood that this battle would determine his future. He didn't want to retreat, and he did want to see how much those days of ascetic training had helped him increase his power. Your Highness, can we join the party now? Da Lei was laughing inwardly, but his face was respectful. He bowed and asked. Princess Zi Yarrow nodded and smiled. Thank you, Uncle. Zi Yarrow's group sauntered toward the palaces in front of them amidst the warm welcome of father and son Da Lei. They then saw the high and luxurious structures like small mounts, accompanied with so many beautiful lakes like pieces of emerald decorating the area. Thick heaven and earth energy was guided into the place. The walls around the place had so many restraints and barriers, which emitted a furious energy. If someone carelessly touched them, the counterattack shot back would be tremendous. Shi Yang frowned, quietly following Princess Zi Yarrow. He discreetly assessed the surroundings and becoming more astounded. Compared to the defensive walls of this place, the utmost 8 purgatory city he had built in the perpetual night forest was just a toy, be it in terms of the scale or defending ability. He believed that even a King God Realm warrior, who wanted to vandalize this place, would be killed by the formation and barriers set up here. The guards of this place didn't need to move even a finger. Da Meng put on a sincere smiling face, following Princess Zi Yarrow. He generously and amicably introduced the defensive power of this area. Shi Yang could see a gleam of arrogance in his eyes. This young man didn't conceal his admiration towards Princess Zi Yarrow. Anybody could see that. While he was introducing the place, he didn't forget to chat with Du Feng. He was so thoughtful that he didn't let Du Feng feel neglected. However, except for Zi Yarrow and Du Feng, he didn't care about anyone else. He didn't even give them a glance. Da Meng disdainfully skipped them all. In this star area, he was the master. He could swagger without caring about anything, as each life star in this area belonged to his territory. Since he was a little kid, he had been grown up under his father's favor and affections. With outstanding innate endowment, he could break through to the new realm fast. That was why his father loved him even more than before. He had the competence to be arrogant. Shi Yang watched everything in silence. He didn't say anything, but he was astounded in his heart. Da Lei was one of the feudal vassals of the Dark Firmament divine nation. However, he had around 10 life stars, and some big mineral stars. He had his own territory and people. He could be considered the lord of a large region. His palaces were grand and large, like the mountains jutted up to the sky, with countless restraints and formations. Under his commands were many hotshots, as dense as clouds in the sky. Shi Yang could detect almost 100 King God Realm warriors, even one of whom was enough to destroy the entire Grace mainland. Da Lei's force was too powerful in Shi Yang's eyes. Thinking about the Dark Firmament divine nation and the other forces that could stand shoulder by shoulder with it, Shi Yang felt so small in this vast universe. He had just made his first step to the raging flaming star area. Compared to the other experts, he was just like a tiny, vulnerable ant. He knew he had to try his best non-stop. He shouldn't relax. If he wanted to survive and gain things, he must become stronger by any means. Quietly clenching his fists, Shi Yang's eyes became more resolute, as his goal was clear. Chapter 724, A Quota. Chapter 724, A Quota. Inside the massive palace hall, people were enjoying good wine and various kinds of delicious food. Gentle young girls were dancing on the green-tiled floor in the middle of the hall. It was a peaceful and harmonious atmosphere. Da Lei and Da Meng were constantly offering good wine to them with smiling faces. They were showing their warm hospitality to their distinguished guests, making Princess Zi Yarrow and Prince Du Feng comfortable. Shi Yang and Berg's team weren't eligible to join this party. They were all standing behind Princess Zi Yarrow and Prince Du Feng, waiting for orders. Many warriors under Da Lei's command visited and cheered with Princess Zi Yarrow and Prince Du Feng. No one paid attention to the group of warriors standing behind them. Shi Yang belonged to the group which was neglected. No one gave him even a glance. When the party had come halfway, Da Lei laughed cheerily. "My distinguished guests, Your Highness, I have nothing to offer you but some exotic fruits we don't have in our country. I hope you would enjoy them." He clapped his hands. Shortly, some maids brought over trays of fruits with so many succulent and fresh fruits. Those fruits had an intimidating energy accumulated within. At first glance, Shi Yang was shaken, discreetly amazed. Those fruits looked really delicious. They had some fine, natural patterns with clear energy waves rippling. It seemed the energy they contained was much easier to absorb than that of the divine crystals. Those fruits should be some kind of heaven and earth products that they could use directly without waiting for the alchemist to refine them. Right when Princess Zi Yarrow and Du Peng saw the fruits, their eyes brightened. They didn't wait for the others to offer but extended their hands to grab the fruits. "Uncle Da Lei's generous, indeed. We haven't seen the fruits with pure energy from heaven and earth like these. It seems we've made the best decision to let Uncle Da Lei guard this area." Princess Zi Yarrow smiled tenderly while having the fruit. She nodded continually, as if she was in a good mood. Du Feng didn't say a word as he was wolfing down the fruits, which were the best for his cultivation. He didn't want to let this chance slide away. While eating the fruits, a clear energy fluctuation rippled from him as though he was taking in the energy of the fruits. Shortly, his qi became abundant, and his face glowed with full spirit. Da Lei laughed. "If Your Highness likes them, I'll give you some when you leave. You can enjoy more on your trip." "Thank you, Uncle Da Lei." Princess Zi Yarrow laughed cheerily. Her beautiful eyes sparkled while she threw a glance at Da Meng. "Da Meng, your realm has been progressed fast. I think you can break through to the King God realm shortly. It's our fortune, too. When I get back, I will report my father on your efforts. I'm sure my father will be pleased. Da Meng's eyes brightened. If I can gain the king's recognition, it will be my greatest honor. As long as you're loyal to the empire and making progress, my father will recognize you. Zi Yarrow smiled, but her eyes were somehow strange. Come here, come here. We'll drink more. It's not often that your highness comes here. We must enjoy until we feel pleased. Da Lei laughed and continued to pour wine for them. Shi Yang was always watching to evaluate Da Meng's moves while standing behind Princess Zi Yarrow. He knew that this man was really dangerous. If they had to fight, Shi Yang couldn't be 100% sure. It was beyond his expectation that Zi Yarrow didn't arrange a battle for him and Da Meng. She hadn't mentioned it even when the party got over. She made an excuse that she was tired due to the long trip and then took him away, leaving the party. Leaving the palace, Shi Yang saw many warriors under Da Lei's command transporting materials and goods to Zi Yarrow's battleship. Those were probably the presents, the taxes that Da Lei had to submit to his superior. Many of them were strange and rare things Shi Yang had never seen before. Da Meng himself took Zi Yarrow's delegation to a charming but quiet palace. From the beginning to the end, Da Meng had always smiled and talked to Princess Zi Yarrow and Prince Du Feng, as if they were chatting about some family stuff. He didn't look at Shi Yang even once. When Zi Yarrow implied him, Da Meng got her signal and left. Waiting until the young man left, Berg and Du Feng immediately put on solemn countenances. Sis, I think we should forget this battle. Lately, Da Meng's realm has been upgraded. The energy fluctuations accumulated on his body aren't much less than a King God realm warrior. He just hasn't achieved the God body yet. We don't need this battle for sure, advised Du Feng. Berg nodded in agreement. Your Highness, I think we don't have even 1% chance of victory in this battle. We don't need to carry on with this idea. Princess Zi Yarrow didn't answer them. Her dark brows slammed together as she looked at Shi Yang. Do you dare to battle with him? Under people's scrutinizing look, Shi Yang's visage was cold and somber. I want to try once. Although I'm not sure I could win, I won't embarrass you. You should think about it carefully. Princess Zi Yarrow was severe. It was rare that she put on such solemn countenance. Da Meng's a brutal man. Not many people could have a decent end after fighting with him. Have you made up your mind? If you lose, the best scenario would be you being hurt severely. It'd be normal if you got killed. Da Meng holds a noble status. If he kills you during the fight, I can't say anything. Have you made up your mind thoroughly? Sis. Your Highness. Du Feng and Berg let out a low shout. They seemed to be very discontented, as they didn't know why Princess Zi Yarrow was so stubborn. Waving her hands, Princess Zi Yarrow eased the other two's minds. She frowned and then explained. Although Da Lei looks humble, I can sense his arrogance through his voice. If we don't correct him, he will become wilder. Da Meng's at the peak of true God realm now. If nothing unexpected happened, he would break through smoothly soon. Of course, if he loses this battle or it's a tie, it will leave a deep impression in his heart. It would follow him forever and create a Mara. It's a good chance. Don't miss it. If we miss it and let him enter the King God realm, it'll be tough to suppress him later. But, Shi Yang has no chance to defeat him. Berg beamed a forced smile. Princess Zi Yarrow didn't say anything, and just looked at Shi Yang. I'll do my best. Shi Yang's face was indifferent, as if he didn't know how dangerous Da Meng was. Your Highness, don't worry. I won't let you down. Good. Brave enough. Princess Zi Yarrow nodded heavily. I'll make a bet this time. If you can win this battle, I will give you more benefits. I won't tell you what it is. When you win, you will know what you can get. Shi Yang's eyes brightened. Then, we'll do like that. Princess Zi Yarrow stopped Berg and Du Feng from talking more. In the next 2 days, you guys have to watch everything carefully, especially the tax. Don't let Da Lei trick us and submit less than required. Berg nodded. It had been 3 days, and Princess Zi Yarrow's delegation hadn't come out, using the excuse that they wanted to rest more. Shi Yang didn't notice anything outside, just focusing on his cultivation. He had performed the powers Upanishad he had learned in his head several times. Also, he always maintained his spirit, soul, and chi at the peak to be well prepared for the upcoming battle. Staying on this lifestyle, he found that his star martial spirit had gained the best benefits. When he urged his star martial spirit, the solar energy from the three suns in the sky flowed massively into his body, pouring in a scorching heat which made him want to battle to vent it out. So, a battle was his wish at this moment. He still maintained this desire for a fight with tense nerves. He had prepared for a strenuous battle, which could happen at any minute. Eventually, Princess Zi Yarrow got out of her room. She walked with a group of her men to her amethyst battleship. A warrior handed her the logbook, then she started to check it thoroughly. As Da Lei and Da Meng saw her, they took a delegation of 100 warriors and came to greet her humbly. Princess Zi Yarrow nodded to them and then continued to read the list of materials and goods in her documents. After a while, she lifted her head, talking with astonishment in her voice. "Uncle Da Lei, I think something's wrong with this list." Shi Yang shuddered. His eyes changed as he secretly put up guard. Da Lei was still smilingly calm as usual. "What? We've missed something?" "No, nothing's missed." Princess Zi Yarrow shook her head, her face odd. "Much more than required." "Uncle Da Lei, your required amount isn't that big. You've miscalculated, I suppose." Shi Yang was surprised. He used to think that Da Lei didn't have goodwill and he would reduce the offerings. He thought that the battle would happen soon. However, the situation was quite contrary. Shi Yang was skeptical. "Haha, then it's all right," Da Lei laughed. "The added amount is in the hope to open a path for my son. The extreme purgatory field is about to open. Although my son's realm is relatively low, he can reluctantly go there. I'm offering more goods to ask for a favor from the king. I hope he would remember my loyalty and give him a quota." Princess Zi Yarrow and Du Feng became odd, frowning. Shi Yang didn't know what the extreme purgatory field they mentioned was. However, seeing the big amount of goods Da Lei wanted to submit to gain a slot for his son, it was no doubt it was a good place indeed. 2 quotas Uncle Da Lei nominated have gone to the extreme purgatory field. People who get in there need to contribute greatly to the empire. Although brother Da Meng has an exquisite cultivation base, he hasn't contributed much to our country. It's not good to favor him. Princess Zi Yarrow furrowed her brows as if it were hard to decide. It's not easy to solve this. Da Lei's face darkened. I've done so many things for the empire. It shouldn't be a problem if I let my son share my merit. Moreover, I've offered a lot of good things. Aren't they enough to let my son get in there? When my son gets out, he will contribute to our empire. Can't you help us with this? Da Meng's face was getting colder. The number of quotas is limited each time. If Da Meng wants to go, we have to cross out another person. It's not convenient. Princess Zi Yarrow calmly shook her head. I heard that your highness has a quota this year. Can you? Da Lei suddenly smiled again. You've reached the 3rd sky of King God realm. You don't need to visit the extreme purgatory field, right? What about you name a price for your quota? I'll really appreciate it. Shi Yang immediately reacted. Turned out that Da Lei had planned for a long time to get the quota from Princess Zi Yarrow. Princess Zi Yarrow changed her visage. Rage flashed in her beautiful eyes. She pondered for 3 seconds and then pointed at Shi Yang all of a sudden. I want to give that quota to him. Chapter 725, Expose. Chapter 725, Expose. After her words, everybody else gazed at Shi Yang. Not only were Da Lei and Da Meng startled, but Du Feng, Berg, and the other warriors following Princess Zi Yarrow also discolored in shock. Only Princess Zi Yarrow could maintain her natural composure. She smiled charmingly. I've planned to assign that quota to him. Recently, he's done many things for me. And all that I've done is to contribute to the empire. So, it can be said that he has contributed his efforts to the empire too. Da Lei's face was cold. His blade-like eyes scanned Shi Yang over and over. Shi Yang felt a vague pain wherever the other's eyes glided over his body. It seemed that his soul also got attacked by needles, causing an annoying pain that he made him want to die to end it. Shi Yang was frightened. His visage changed while he was accumulating his energy to prepare himself discreetly. Da Lei had just looked at him, yet it was too much to bear. If the other wanted to kill him, it would be much effortless, like killing an ant. This feeling irritated him a lot. Shi Yang understood that what Princess Zi Yarrow said was just to deceive the others to make a chance for him to get on the stage, facilitating his battle with Da Meng. As for the merit, it was all fiction. Since Da Lei and Da Meng had never seen him before, they would have no means to prove it. Is he entitled to enter the extreme purgatory field when he's only at the second sky of True God realm? Da Lei snorted with a dark face. Since when has the extreme purgatory become that easy to enter? Although his realm isn't high, his competence is enough. Princess Zi Yarrow nodded and smiled. Just several days ago, he killed a third sky of True God realm expert of the Underworld League. Well, it took him less than a minute. Da Lei was surprised, though disdain was still visible on his face. Just a small warrior of the Underworld League, do you think he could be compared to my son? My son can battle against King God realm experts. His competence is proven to get into the extreme purgatory field. About this kid. I think he isn't eligible. Well, whether or not he's eligible, I think we should test it. Princess Zi Yarrow wasn't enraged, smiling to Da Meng. You guys can fight with each other. If you win, I will give you this quota. How does it sound? Is he eligible to be my match? Da Meng sneered. My opponents all have reputations. Well, do I look like I have a lot of free time to play with an anonymous kid like him? Shi Yang's my follower, also the one I want to send to the extreme purgatory field. He has done a lot for the Empire. When I say he's eligible, he's eligible. Princess Zi Yarrow didn't smile anymore, speaking coldly. If you don't dare to battle him, I'm sorry, you guys should find another way around for a quota. Perhaps you can ask for it from another feudal vassal. Then, you don't need to babble with me. Da Lei paled slightly. The Dark Firmament Divine Empire had 5 grand vassals under the king. Da Lei was just one of them, and his position and force weren't the strongest. The other 4 grand vassals were not weaker than him. Their realms and forces were even better than his. It was really tough to ask for a quota from them. Since he had known he couldn't do that, he had to aim at Princess Zi Yarrow's quota. Shi Yang hadn't said anything, but he was accumulating his energy secretly. He had maintained the peak state for a fight. He knew that he would be exposed to a bloody battle, where he could shine his talent for the first time in the raging Flamestar area, at any minute. Your Highness, you mean as long as my son can defeat your cortege, you will give us that quota? Da Lei contemplated for a while and then grinned all of a sudden. He wasn't so hostile as before, giving people a feeling of a tender and mild person. However, his sharp eyes were gazing at Shi Yang with a gleam of brutal aura in his pupils. As he had said that, Princess Zi Yarrow was bewildered. She slammed her brows together, throwing a glance at Shi Yang, while she was actually sighing in her heart. She said persistently, "It's true. If he can defeat Shi Yang, I'll grant him my quota." "Thank you, Your Highness." Da Lei suddenly laughed, clapping his hands. "It's my bad, I misunderstood you. Turns out you've treated us best, as you wanted to give us a quota for free. How dumb I am. I just realized your hardship. I'm so bad I deserve to be dead." He laughed out loud, glancing at Da Meng. "Then we shall get to the arena and train with the princess's warrior. Remember son, you have to reduce your force. Don't you ever hurt the princess's henchmen." As Da Meng heard his father, he seemed to understand something, bowing to Princess Zi Yarrow with a big smile on his face. "Your Highness, thank you for your favor. I will carve it in my heart, and I will never forget your favor today." The other warriors standing behind them also wore a strange smile. Princess Zi Yarrow and Du Feng grimaced, and people couldn't see their real thoughts. Apparently, the other didn't consider Shi Yang an equal match. He disdained Shi Yang, and he just took the battle as a step of the procedure to get a pass. This game would be ended in seconds. Please instruct me more. Under such pressured atmosphere, Shi Yang took one step forward. With a calm face and a straight back, he diffused an aura as massive as a mountain. People's mocking laughter ceased gradually. Da Lei, his son, and their men looked at Shi Yang with a natural face, as they weren't really serious while standing before this big fight. Go, and behave. Don't act unreasonably like you've always done. They offer you a quota for free. You should be grateful, Da Lei said relaxedly, waving his hand. Princess Zi Yaro's beautiful eyes sparkled strangely. She signaled Du Feng, Berg, and the others to step back and leave a spacious area for Shi Yang and Da Meng, which would facilitate their battle, as they didn't need to worry about hurting the onlookers. Shi Yang stood firm like a rock. He wasn't enraged by the sneering and mocking noises around. Such calmness made people feel weird. He acted like he was just a man in the crowd who was about to watch a good game, instead of the one who would take part in the battle. Da Lei also waved his hand to make his delegation step back. Da Meng laughed out loud, throwing Shi Yang a glance. Don't worry. I'll give the princess face by not killing you. Anyway, I'm not a well-behaved guy. I'll perhaps leave some marks on you. It's normal though. Don't be tense. I won't take your life. Talkative, Shi Yang parted his lips and couldn't help but snort. Da Meng's countenance became icy-cold. Kid, what did you just say? I say, you're like a P***SSY. You talk too much before the battle. Too talkative. Don't you feel annoyed? Shi Yang said with a serious face. Da Meng laughed louder. You want to enrage me? Funny, eh? Do you think that you can affect the match by provoking me? Are you that naive? Who do you think you are? Although you can provoke me and mess my mind, do you think you could dodge this disaster? Annoying. Shi Yang stooped slightly, then frowned and shouted. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. 3 bone thorns appeared behind Da Meng, hissing and stabbing fiercely towards his back. Since those bone thorns were added with space power, they could use Shi Yang's soul consciousness to tear the space and appear out of thin air without any prior signals. By the time Da Meng found them, the 3 bone thorns were just a blink away from him. Thud thud thud. 3 dull thudding sounds echoed. A flower bloomed behind Da Meng beautifully and evilly, creating a flower shield to prevent the 3 bone thorns thrusting. Real flower petals scattered. The man's body shook 3 times. His face reddened, as a gleam of anger sparkled in his eyes. Shi Yang had finally provoked him. You've overreached yourself. Da Meng thundered indignantly, touching his forehead. A spinning soul altar flew out from his sea of consciousness. A massive soul got out of his glabella. It was a silver-armored Tigan king, that was around 10 meters long. This Tigan king was really famous in the raging Flamestar area. The silver-armored Tigan king had silver scales around its body. It looked both like the lion and tiger, with an intimidating power and extremely sharp claws that could tear metals and rock easily. This creature had an inborn prowess, with its 2 eyes looking like 2 cubes of vivid blood. It was so frightening and amazing. This silver-armored Tigan king was just a soul. It seemed to have taken shelter in Da Meng's soul altar, where Da Meng raised the Tigan. As soon as it got out, the silver-armored Tigan king rolled on the ground. Big rocks then stuck on its massive body like pieces of clay. Shortly, the Tigan in its soul form had gained flesh from rocks. Its aura diffused brutally and evilly, as its formidable blood chi and energy expanded torrentially. The 10 meters tall silver-armored Tigan king now had silver rocks as its armor. It then faced up the sky and roared ear-splittingly. Then, its sharp blade claws swept over Shi Yang, as if it wanted to rip Shi Yang's body apart and tear his abdomen instantly. Energy fluctuations on the silver-armored Tigan king were formidable. This creature didn't act as if it were just a soul. Moreover, it was more ruthless than before it died. Seeing its aura and swift moves, Princess Zi Yaro's warriors were startled, their looks changing. The cold visage on Zi Yaro's face disappeared. Worry showed on her exquisite face. Her eyes flared as she was nervous secretly. If Shi Yang lost this game, not only would she lose a quota, but it would also blow Da Lei's arrogance. This opportunity would give Da Meng a great benefit, which would make it hard to suppress him later. No matter what, She didn't wish that Shi Yang would lose this game. However, as soon as Da Meng took action, she was astounded by his power. Finally, she could verify the rumors about this young man. Da Meng did have the competence to battle with King God Realm warriors. Different from her, as soon as Da Meng struck out, his father, Da Lei, immediately smiled relaxingly. With the service from his maids, he was smiling and eating fruits while talking with a warrior standing next to him. He wasn't worried at all, as he seemed to know the result of this match beforehand. He believed that his son would win effortlessly. No one expected good prospects for Shi Yang, including Princess Zi Yarrow, who had believed in him before. After seeing how strong Da Meng was, she suddenly felt regret. She regretted her decision of taking a risk and letting a strange warrior join this battle. The woman worriedly watched Shi Yang as she sighed, thinking about her mistake and what to do to make it up. However, while she hadn't thought about any good solutions, she saw something in Shi Yang's eyes. A tyrannically malicious aura burst out from Shi Yang, which could even shake her. Princess Zi Yarrow's eyes brightened, and couldn't help but let out a breath. Ah. Chapter 726, Upanishad Advancement. Chapter 726, Upanishad Advancement. Shi Yang immediately urged negative energy of the acupuncture points in his entire body, creating a pale membrane enveloping his body. Second sky of rampage. His eyes turned blood red instantly. A brutal, wild, and malicious aura diffused quietly from his body, raising his imposing aura to another high level. The sharp claws of the silver-armored Tigan King tore the wind. Its 10 meters long body jumped like a massive mountain, pressing down on Shi Yang and giving forth a strong intimidating. 7 stars changed the moon, Shi Yang thundered. The star martial spirit in front of his chest radiated a dazzling light. Numerous stars gathered into 7 massive star clusters. The 7 star clusters were as bright as blazing diamonds, with torrentially surging energy. They rotated and then moved in the trajectory of the northern stars. Roar! The silver-armored Tigan King roared, storming towards the center of the 7 massive star clusters. It twisted its body in the air and then pressed down. A furious energy wave exploded from inside the 7 clusters. The 7 northern stars released formidable energy waves like the strongest dynamite, as starlight shot out at max speed. Silver scales on the silver-armored Tigan King's body shook. The starlight that had just fallen got through the scales to intrude the Tigan's body and then its soul. Swoosh! The silver-armored Tigan King's giant body disappeared into so many beams of starlight, which looked extremely strange. When the silver-armored Tigan King reappeared, it fell around 1,000 meters behind Shi Yang. It then heavily impacted the ground, digging up a large and deep hole. Pieces of rock scattered everywhere, with thick smoke and dust rising up. Shi Yang didn't look behind his back. His eyes were like a sharp sword shooting towards Da Meng. A thought flashed through his head. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. The 3 bone thorns, which had already disappeared, suddenly stormed over from a blind corner. Their aura became sharper and stronger, thrusting towards Da Meng. This time, they didn't aim at his back but his front. 2 of them aimed at his eyes while the last one was flying towards his glabella, with a strange aura that could pierce through anything. The onlookers were breathing gingerly with astounded faces. Their eyes gazed at Shi Yang, but they were all tense. Da Lei stopped talking to the warrior next to him. He was still holding a bunch of crystal grapes, but he seemed to forget eating them. His black eyes were gloomy, as he was extremely dissatisfied. Standing behind him were almost 100 King God Realm warriors. They all were frowning and putting up guard. Their happy and relaxed manners had been replaced with serious looks. Prince Du Feng and Berg's group dropped their jaws, as if they were watching an unbelievable scene. They were astounded, looking at Shi Yang with awe. At this moment, they had put aside the distressed and begrudging feeling they had had before the battle. Princess Zi Yarrow's eyes were still as bright as diamonds. A gleam of happiness appeared on her smooth cheeks. Her perfect body became calm as she stretched out laughing. She threw a glance at Da Lei. Seeing Da Lei discolor, she suddenly felt much better. Shi Yang's performance was a little bit over her estimation. She had thought that this battle would have nothing surprising anymore. Under Da Meng's furious attack, Shi Yang would be hurt soon. Or, he could even be killed shortly. She didn't know what to do and began to consider how to save the situation. It was unexpected that at the moment she was worried the most, Shi Yang suddenly showed his supernatural abilities, dissolving a fatal attack of the silver-armored Tigan King. She was cheered up again, as the flame of hope was ignited in her heart. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. The tearing wind sound made by the bone thorns was like a ghost screaming and asking for people's lives. Beyond their expectations, when the bone thorns flew in the sky, they didn't move in a straight way. Strangely, they moved like snakes, slithering and changing their directions constantly, which made it hard to trace their whereabouts. Wherever the 3 bone thorns glided over, they left 3 bright white streaks in the air, just like the tail of meteors. They even twisted with each other, which looked extremely strange and devilish. Da Meng knew that the aura of those 3 bone thorns had locked his eyes and glabella. However, seeing their constantly changing direction and their increasing aura, he couldn't make up his mind, as the bone thorns could come from any direction instead of the starting one. Although the first attack from the 3 bone thorns was sharp and fierce, it was a straight attack with obvious targets. Thus, even if he had reacted a little bit slower, he could still create a shield behind his back to stop them. However, at this moment, he couldn't be sure about anything. He couldn't guess the direction of attack, so he had to create a thick defensive layer covering his entire body, leaving no tiny leak. He was afraid that the bone thorns could aim at his flaws. Shi Yang stood still, but a blood-red halo was expanding from his eyes. He looked like a demon from the abyss of hell watching its prey. His look made people anxious. Flows of his soul consciousness quietly reached the 3 bone thorns. Since he had mastered using space power, his bone thorns could swiftly glide through space and avoid the other's soul consciousness coverage in a short period. That was how they became so evilly cunning that people couldn't catch them. Not long after Shi Yang had arrived in this raging flamestar area, he knew warriors in this place didn't use many clear or fixed martial techniques, as they had only used the power Upanishad, the fundamental knowledge of heaven and earth's power. Martial techniques were the ways of using energy and power Upanishads accurately. If they had a deep understanding of the Upanishads and a profound realm, they could vary their use of powers, and could create their unique martial techniques without considering the minor details. Warriors in the raging flamestar area had used the power Upanishad as the foundation to create the martial techniques through their understanding of the principles of their own powers and the particular situations. They wouldn't have a fixed style during fighting. For example, the Dipper God Arrow of the Radiant God cult was a way of using the star power of the star martial spirit. However, as Shi Yang had a deep understanding of the star Upanishad and the movement of the Big Dipper, he could use the simplest rules of nature and the situation of his battle to adjust the Big Dipper God Arrow as he liked. With small amendments, he could create a new martial technique, and also a new type of energy attack. In the high-level continents, the power Upanishads were the foundation. As long as a warrior understood a rule of natural power, when he used this energy, he could base it on different given circumstances to create a better martial technique to attack his opponent. He could create a new martial technique at any time as he pleased. Martial techniques were just the means to show the rules of nature as they rebuilt and changed some kind of natural energy. As they knew the foundation, the martial techniques would frequently change from time to show its best features. The more they understood the power Upanishad and principles of heaven and earth, the more perfectly and flexibly they could utilize their energies during a fight. At the same time, the martial techniques they created during the battles would become more powerful and tremendous to promote the essence of power Upanishads. As the 3 bone thorns had the essence of the mysterious space, it naturally advanced into the magical martial technique. It took curves in the air, making indefinite turns while gathering more and more space power to become devilishly sharper. When the bone thorns almost stabbed Da Meng, they disappeared into thin air one more time as if they had fallen into a space crack, leaving no aura. Da Meng discolored. He was totally alert, as he knew the attack would arrive abruptly. Swoosh. The 3 bone thorns suddenly flashed. They were moving in a triangular formation and hadn't changed their targets yet, still aiming at his eyes and glabella. At the moment they appeared visibly, They were just 10 centimeters away from Da Meng, as if they could directly prick his sockets. F***CK. Da Meng shouted ear-splittingly. A mark arose from deep inside his eyes. People could see his soul altar tremble a little bit. A beast soul rolled, appeared, and enlarged from his left eye shortly. That beast looked like a giant hedgehog. Spikes on its body glistened radiantly. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 bone thorns stabbed on that beast, making it groan mournfully and bizarrely. The massive body of the beast shriveled rapidly. When the aura of the 3 bone thorns ceased completely, the beast got back into Da Meng's eyes, staying quietly in his soul altar. Da Meng sneered. Countless symbols and charms sparkled in his hands. He grabbed the 3 bone thorns, halting in front of him with one hand. So many symbols and charms flowed like a furious current of water, swarming into the 3 bone thorns. The bone thorns, made of the bones of a level 10 beast, were softened under the power of those magical symbols. Crack, crack. Da Meng squeezed his hand, and the 3 bone thorns were broken into 10 pieces. He then used both hands to knead the bones. Shortly, bone dust scattered as he had ground them up fully. While smirking, he touched his forehead. His eyes were icy cold as he was giving orders using his soul consciousness. 2 more beasts were coming out of his eyes. They were a giant hawk with blooming orange light and a one-eyed wolf. These 2 beasts were also in their soul form. As soon as they got out of his eyes, they started to take in the massive amount of heaven and earth energy. Shortly, their bodies gained the energy of the oppressive outer space, becoming full of flesh and blood chi. They both looked imposing. At the same time, the silver-armored Tigan King, which had been struck hard by Shi Yang's star power, stood up while glaring at him maliciously. It then faced up the sky, roaring terribly and gathering the heaven and earth energy. Just like a grey sand tornado, it furiously attacked Shi Yang's back. Don't kill him, Da Lei suddenly beamed a faint smile. He evilly peeked at Princess Zi Yarrow, asking his son. Wounding is all right. He's just a barbarian warrior. Our princess won't blame us for hurting him. Spare his life. This kid's good though. He's strong enough to force you using 3 soul beasts. Du Feng, Berg, and the others became grim, their faces gloomy. Kid, without those strange bone thorns, let's see what tricks you have, Da Meng smirked. Even though his face was a little bit pale, his eyes were still as sharp as blades. Shi Yang frowned, but he didn't hasten to answer or to look at his back. Instead, he looked at Princess Zi Yarrow standing aside. I want to use all of my force to counter, so I'm not sure if I'll be careful enough not to hurt the opponent. Rumble, rumble. The grey tornado of the silver-armored Tigan King fell into Shi Yang's gravitational field, and then was ground by different energies in there. The Tigan could create no threat to him now. Princess Zi Yarrow's heart, which was tense tight, calmed down on hearing him. She looked at him in the eyes and then beamed a bright smile. It's hard to avoid getting hurt during a battle. I think Brother Da Meng has been prepared. You can use your full force. No need to be afraid so much. That will do. Chapter 727, Soul Burial Ground Deadly Upanishad. Chapter 727, Soul Burial Ground Deadly Upanishad. Shi Yang extended his right arm. As starlight gathered rapidly together, along with a flow of flaming solar energy. It happened in just a blink of an eye. A broad starlight sword that was around 3 meters long appeared in Shi Yang's hand, which was made of starlight and solar energy. The sword had a burning red core, and edges made of starlight. It sparkled beautifully while releasing intimidating energy fluctuations. Shi Yang didn't wait until the beasts from Da Meng's soul altar approached him. He faced the sky and roared. Holding the starlight sword, he rocketed to the sky. The broadsword made a gentle curve in the air, then furiously slashed the giant orange-red hawk, the first one approaching him. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Countless beams of starlight shot out from the broadsword. As the sword slashed the giant hawk, it screeched mournfully, struggling in the air as if it wanted to tear Shi Yang apart. Starlight twirled around Shi Yang's body. Moving accordingly to the trajectory of the stars, Shi Yang continually changed the directions as he agilely dodged the attack of the giant hawk. The broad starlight sword in his hand constantly hacked down. Starlight energy in the sword flowed like quicksand towards the hawk's body. The giant hawk screeched painfully. However, no matter how hard it tried, it couldn't catch Shi Yang. This also made the bird suffer. The malignant wolf was pure gold, with a magical moving halo on its big body, as if it was mold out of water. When the wolf moved, water-like light waves would ripple continually. The wolf bared its fangs and claws, facing the sky to roar loudly. Pure gold beams of light were weaving a net with thick mesh in the air, in an attempt to cover the whole space Shi Yang had occupied. It wanted to confine Shi Yang for a slow torture. Tear. Shi Yang's blood-red eyes were shining radiantly. With a cold countenance, the broad starlight sword in his hand suddenly sent a fierce wave of energy. A flaming energy current that looked like a burning red stream shot out from the sword, pouring on that giant hawk. The hawk had a fragment of refined energy outside its body, but it was the soul of the bird which was its foundation. However, every kind of living being in their soul form had to be afraid of scorching heat. Furthermore, the flaming energy of the sun was the nemesis of such soul-living beings. As so many flows of flaming energy were pouring into the hawk and seeping through its soul, the bird's screaming became more pathetic, which irritated people. When the bird was screeching painfully, the vivid gold wolf also wanted to fly up to support his comrade. The silver-armored Tigan King roared and dashed forward one more time, but got trapped in the gravitational field again. It was like the Tigan had fallen into a dangerous muddy puddle. The more it wiggled, the worse it was dragged into the twisting field of different energies. Obviously, it couldn't escape the coverage of the gravitational field shortly. It became more indignant, but it couldn't get out. The starlight sword continued to shoot out the surging flaming solar energy, which shriveled the giant hawk. As the giant hawk was shrunk, the energy fragment on its body was burned. It looked yearningly at Da Meng from a distance. It was so frightened that it wanted to get back to the soul altar to recover. Da Meng grimaced, standing there with cold and dark eyes, as a flame of anger was seething. However, he didn't send the thought to the hawk to let it get back. Instead, he gritted his teeth and shouted, "All right, you have good tricks. Seems like I have to do my best here." He touched his forehead one more time, sending his thought to his soul altar. Abruptly, distinctive energy fluctuations of beasts shot out of his altar. However, there was no beast coming out this time, and instead, the flesh and blood of his entire body started transforming. Crack, crack, crack. Da Meng's body started to be animalized at the speed that naked eye could observe. He generated a tremendous suction force to gather the heaven and earth energy, supplementing his bestial power. A bestial armor appeared on his limbs, forehead, and chest. There were thick layers of silver armor and animal fur growing on his body. At that moment, Da Meng seemed to transform into a savage beast with a mighty strength. It seemed he had absorbed the energy of the beasts. He had abruptly to push his energy to another higher peak, which made people feel scared of him. From the beginning, Da Meng had never taken action. He had just used the beasts to attack his opponent. Eventually, he couldn't help it anymore. He howled like a beast, just like a great beast of the ancient times getting awakened. He stood on all fours, storming forward to attack the other. Stomp, stomp, stomp. He used all of his limbs to move on the hard stone ground, which was dug up under his massive pressure. At this moment, he looked like a dangerous beast that had the energy to destroy everything. Return! Da Meng shouted ear-splittingly the second time. Instantly, the silver-armored Tigan King, the giant orange-red hawk, and the pure gold wolf had returned to their soul form, turning into three beams and disappearing into his chest. Da Meng had transformed completely. His neck and back were covered with thick bestial armor, while his arms and knees had sharp spikes, with a cold metallic light shining. They seemed sharp enough to stab through a mountain. As he was completely animalized, there was no human feature to be seen on his body. Just like a wild hybrid of many kinds of monsters, he had absorbed the monster energy to develop a bloodthirsty and savage intention of destroying all creatures in the world in his eyes. This was the power Upanishad Da Mengs had comprehended, which was to fuse with beast souls to improve his abilities. With the power of beasts in his body, he could have the competence to challenge higher realm warriors. Being able to make young Master Da Meng bring out his real power, this man is excellent enough to be arrogant. Anyway, it's nothing more than that. A king god warrior standing next to Da Li frowned and then said, after being animalized completely, young Master Da Meng will become more bloodthirsty. I just hope that kid would be lucky enough to survive this savage battle. Da Li became absolutely calm. He didn't say anything while his eyes gazed at his son. Pride could be seen in his eyes. He knew how lethal Da Meng was after he was animalized better than anyone else. Even if that were a king god realm warrior, if his god body hadn't reached a high level yet, he couldn't resist Da Meng's animalized body. Besides, after Da Meng got animalized, he could use all the energy of the beast souls he had absorbed, which could skyrocket his energy to an intimidating level. He believed that even if Shi Yang were at the peak of true god realm, his result would only be an instant death while fighting with Da Meng. Du Feng and Berg were desperate now. They shook their heads with forced smiles, as they had nothing to believe in at the moment. The power Da Meng was showing could give a headache to Du Feng, a warrior at the first sky of King God realm. He felt like he didn't know how or where to attack the other, let alone Shi Yang. Princess Zi Yarrow wasn't relaxed anymore. Her bright smile had disappeared a long time ago. She knitted her brows tightly, sighing. Shi Yang's performance didn't fail her. She believed that if it were another peak of true God realm warrior, Shi Yang could gain triumph and give her face. Too bad, Da Meng, a new Nova that could fight against the King God realm warrior, was his opponent this time. Zi Yarrow suddenly realized that she didn't underestimate Shi Yang but Da Meng. That was why she thought that at this moment, this battle had nothing else surprising left in it to continue watching. Third sky of rampage. Seeing Da Meng storming towards him with a deadly savage aura, and the holes he made along his way, Shi Yang changed his face for the first time, screaming wildly. Shortly, pallid tentacles jutted out of the acupuncture points of his entire body. This was the feature of the acme accumulation of Shi Yang's negative energy. Each tentacle was filled with thoughts of despair, resentment, bloodlust, and a mysteriously evil energy. They all were the representatives of evils. In the third sky of rampage, his body suddenly shriveled grossly. His flesh and blood seemed to be squeezed off his body. However, the energy in his body had become purer than ever. In people's eyes, his bony body was full of essence energy. At the same time, his eyes became nonchalant, having no gleam of human emotions. At this moment, Shi Yang didn't look like a human anymore. Even his breathing had lost the vitality of a living creature. It seemed that his aura had been transformed into a pure part of a combined evil force. This gave people an annoying feeling. What kind of a power Upanishad is that? Why is it so strangely evil? The warrior standing next to Da Li was startled, his face astounded. Da Li was also frowning, looking at Shi Yang with great astonishment. A feeble beam of light sparkled in Princess Zi Yarrow's gloomy eyes. She was a little bit shaken. A death intent domain slowly expanded from Shi Yang. Under the effect of that death intent domain, flowers in the garden pretty far from there suddenly withered. Their vitality flowed massively like a flood draining away. Insects underground also cried continually as their lives were taken away. Everything became scarily quiet. Small, flickering light dots also appeared on Princess Zi Yarrow, Du Feng, Berg, and the other warriors standing near Shi Yang like fireflies. They then converged slowly towards Shi Yang. Anybody under the coverage of the death intent domain, as long as they were living creatures, felt irritated while their souls became exhausted unknowingly. Princess Zi Yarrow became dumbstruck, looking at the light dots flying out of her body. She frowned, feeling her soul agitated. Taking life origin, soul burial ground deadly Upanishad. In the deadly silence, Da Li suddenly recalled something, screaming hoarsely. His face grimaced. Princess Zi Yarrow felt like she got a bucket of cold water pouring on her head. She reacted, her beautiful eyes becoming odd while looking at Shi Yang in fright. The onlookers acted as if they had seen ghosts. Their countenance became terrified. Looking at Shi Yang without an energy fluctuation of living beings, they felt like they were watching a man who reaped lives. They shuddered in their hearts. However, At this moment, pale tentacles extending from the acupuncture points of Shi Yang's entire body suddenly moved, rolling the flows of light dots from the others and driving them towards Shi Yang. Those light dots came from the flowers pretty far from Shi Yang, the underground insects, Zi Yarrow, Du Feng, Berg, and the other warriors. Those were the life origin, the power of vigorous living beings. Shi Yang felt refreshed and comfortable, as he was brimming with energy incomparably. He could feel his body taking in a large amount of energy. He moved his body and bumped into Da Meng directly, using his bursting energy in its purest form to collide with the other. Light spots sparked everywhere. Da Li's face was ash gray, while Princess Zi Yarrow felt insecure. Chapter 728, The Feudal Vassal Admits His Defeat. Chapter 728, The Feudal Vassal Admits His Defeat. Da Lei, Zi Yarrow, and the other onlookers all wore a grimaced face. Their torch-like eyes gazed at Shi Yang without blinking. It was so quiet that they could even hear the sound of a needle falling on the ground. This silence was terrifying. The battle between Shi Yang and Da Meng was still going on. Furious auras and lights twirled around them. However, the two of them didn't recognize the astounded onlookers, as they were still fighting hard. After Da Meng had been animalized, he had the power of beasts and a non-human appearance. Shi Yang, his opponent, was even more bizarre. His body was shriveled, and he had so many peculiar tentacles sprouting from his acupuncture points. It seemed like Shi Yang didn't feel pain or other feelings. He just used the strongest attack to counter Da Meng. Martial techniques that had been generated from different power Upanishads bloomed on their bodies. The two were covered in so many strange beams of light. During their fight, magical light spots were still sparkling on Zi Yarrow, Du Feng, Berg, and the others. They couldn't do anything but watch the flow of light spots rolling towards Shi Yang's tentacles. Those light spots then turned into his unceasing, violent energy, supplementing his battle power. The more he battled, the fiercer Shi Yang became. Da Meng had to increase his power continuously to fight Shi Yang. Bestial energy revolved furiously around his body, which could be compared to a level 10 beast at this moment. His animalized body was more like a rigid metal or stone. Soon, Zi Yarrow pulled herself together first. She threw a glance over her shoulder and then shouted, "Move! Stay away from Shi Yang's intent domain." As soon as she said that, Prince Du Feng and Berg felt like they were granted amnesty. They immediately retreated backward with a panic-stricken visage, as they were afraid that the field from him could affect them badly. Zi Yarrow also stepped backward far from the battle arena. Da Lei darkened his face. His eyes sparkled with a terrifying light as he suddenly shouted, "Retreat, all of you. If you don't want to die, stay as far as possible from that kid." Many warriors on this life star moved away anxiously. They stood several thousand meters away from Shi Yang, then quietly urged their energy to seal their aura. After Da Lei had uttered Soul Burial Field, any warrior who had heard this name before acted as if they had seen ghosts. They now looked at Shi Yang with great fright, as an unknown cold current rose from the bottom of their hearts. In their eyes, Shi Yang used to be neglected. But now, he had turned into a demon which could easily drag their lives into the infinite abyss. Bang bang boom! Shi Yang's body, which had been quenched through countless challenges, was now covered in blood after Da Meng, in his animalized form, had bombarded him furiously. Shi Yang got badly wounded. Just like him, Da Meng wasn't as comfortable as he had thought he would be. Wounds appeared on his entire body, while spikes on his elbows, knees, and shoulders were broken. As blood stained all over his face, his eyes became gloomier. Quite the contrary, this had stimulated his wild instinct. He roared ferociously, constantly boosting more energy. The surrounding people quieted down. They stopped talking to each other, their faces solemn. As they looked at the two of them, their looks became bizarre. Gradually, Da Meng felt exhausted. From time to time, magical light spots would detach from him. After each passing minute, he felt more tired, and he felt that his vitality had been draining unknowingly. Shi Yang, his opponent, had the opposite status. The more he fought, the more intimidating he became. It seemed that he would never feel tired. His eyes were excited while his aura was getting sharper and more formidable. The fight continued. But in the other's eyes, the situation now favored only one side, which was totally different from what they had expected. Apparently, Shi Yang had gained the upper hand at this moment. "Little Meng, come back here." All of a sudden, Da Lei shouted. Da Meng ignored his father. He continued to accumulate his energy, bombarding Shi Yang ferociously. It seemed he didn't want to stop. So many light spots sparkled on his body then rolled into Shi Yang's tentacles. Da Meng didn't feel anything besides his exhausted spirit. However, depending on his tenacious body, he didn't want to stop. He didn't want to admit his defeat. Da Lei's face became more solemn as he suddenly rose his arm. A light curtain unfolded like a fishing net and covered Da Meng instantly. Without waiting for Da Meng to wiggle, his father dragged him out of the arena, far away from Shi Yang. "Father!" Da Meng screamed, his face brave and stubborn. "Why did you stop me?" Da Lei's face was as if he could hardly endure it anymore. He shook his head to his son and then took out a long and sized verdant pellet. "Take it. You should refill your essence chi first, and then we'll talk." "I haven't been defeated yet." Da Meng didn't take the pellet. His eyes reddened as he wanted to storm to the arena again. Da Lei harumphed. The light curtain covering his son suddenly squeezed, restraining all the powers of Da Meng. "Swallow it." Da Lei shoved the pellet into his son's mouth. He flickered his thought to confine his son totally, even shutting his son up. In the battle arena, Shi Yang lost his target. He frowned in surprise, looking at the others bewilderedly. Having ceased engaging in a battle, his aura started to recede. His terrifying intent domain gradually faded out to the point the others couldn't sense it anymore. "What's going on?" He looked at Da Lei from far away. "Does it count as an end?" "My son got defeated." It was beyond people's expectations that Da Lei would proactively admit his son's defeat. He gave Shi Yang a deep look and then talked to Zi Yao. "Your Highness is always excellent. Even your follower is indeed talented. Today, I have widened my vision. Your Highness, I just want to ask what kind of relationship is between Shi Yang and that man." Shi Yang was surprised, as he didn't understand what the other was talking about. However, before he had the time to say anything, Princess Zi Yao smiled naturally, waving her hand to signal him to shut up. She seemed to have something in her mind already. She laughed cheerily towards Da Lei. "Shi Yang's his descendant. I think I don't need to talk much about it, right? Uncle Da Lei, you've seen everything clearly enough, haven't you?" Da Lei contemplated for a while and then nodded helplessly, his face bitter. "I got it. Why didn't you tell me earlier, Your Highness? If you had told me he was the disciple of that man, how would have I messed up like that?" Shi Yang frowned as he didn't understand anything. He knew that Da Lei and Zi Yao were talking about something related to him, but he didn't know what to do. Zi Yao waved her hand, using her eyes to signal him not to talk. He could understand her signal, which was why he didn't say anything. However, on listening to their conversation, he felt something strange, but he couldn't explain. It seemed that this person they were referring to was someone Da Lei had been wary of a lot, and he had something related to Shi Yang. However, Shi Yang had never known what relationship he had that was enough to terrify Da Lei. "Haha, I didn't want to reveal it, but Uncle Da Lei has forced me. I had no choice, and had to let you see it yourself." Princess Zi Yao beamed a faint smile, then continued calmly. "If you don't have anything else to discuss, we shall bid farewell here. Anyway, I hope Uncle Da Lei would keep it in a down low for me." Da Lei put on a forced smile. "How could I dare to talk about it? If someone gets to know about it, it will bring big trouble to our divine nation, I'm afraid. Don't worry, I will consider that I haven't seen anything." "Thank you, Uncle Da Lei." Zi Yao bent her body to greet and thank him. "Your Highness." Da Lei was dazed for a while, then asked with hope, "Is he staying in our raging flamestar area? I've heard about his legend, but never seen him before. I wonder if I can be lucky enough to meet him once." "He isn't in our raging flamestar area. And where he is, I'm sorry I can't tell. Shi Yang's his disciple. He comes here to practice. That's why I will grant him the quota to go to the extreme purgatory field this time. I think Uncle Da Lei won't have any opposing opinions now, right? Princess Zi Yarrow beamed a vague smile. How could I dare? Even if I had more guts, I wouldn't dare have any objections. Da Lei was scared. He bent to greet Shi Yang, his face smiling and friendly. Little buddy, I've offended you as I didn't know your identity. Please be merciful. Pausing for a while, Da Lei continued, servants, present him a carriage of mineral ingredients for pellets from my treasure. It's my gift to ask for his pardon. Right after he finished, the King God Realm warrior standing next to him disappeared. Shortly, he pushed over a silver war chariot which was full of colorful materials. Then, they put the entire war chariot into Princess Zi Yarrow's amethyst battleship. I've offended you, little buddy. Please don't blame me. Da Lei clasped his hands, his face honest and his tone sincere. Haha, thank you, Uncle Da Lei. I'm late already. I shouldn't annoy you any longer. Goodbye. Princess Zi Yarrow laughed happily, then turned to Shi Yang. Get to the ship. We shall depart right now. Shi Yang was filled with suspicions, but his face was still calm and natural. He smiled and thanked Da Lei, then followed Princess Zi Yarrow to board the purple battleship. Zi Yarrow was a little bit hurried. Right when they had boarded, she ordered to depart. With a loud explosion, the amethyst battleship tore the atmosphere to rocket into the dark universe. The giant bronze steamship, which was waiting for them in outer space, started to move, floating behind the amethyst battleship. Da Lei watched the amethyst battleship leaving. He didn't say anything, his eyes quite complicated. After a while, he swung his hand to dissolve the restraint he had put on Da Meng, talking to the others. You should forget everything you've seen today. No one is allowed to disclose even a small detail. Otherwise, your entire family will suffer. 100 King God Realm warriors standing behind him nodded with icy cold faces. Father, what has happened to you? Why did you stop me? Da Meng shouted right when his restraint was lifted, his face grimaced. If you had continued to fight, your vitality would have been taken away completely. At that time, no pellet could help you recover. Da Lei took a deep breath, his face dark and gloomy. If what Princess Zi Yarrow said is true, we can't offend that kid. In our raging flamestar area, no one could bear the cost of offending him. Da Meng was extremely frightened, looking at him bewilderedly. It happened so many years ago, when an unknown warrior came to our raging flamestar area with several severe wounds. Wherever he passed by, the vitality of the life stars, including their inhabitants, was taken away. Life stars became dead stars wherever he went by. Within only half a month after he had appeared in the raging flamestar area, there were more than 10 life stars that turned into dead stars. Not even a single life fluctuation could be detected. Da Lei paused for a while and then beamed a forced smile. The power Upanishad that man used is the Death Upanishad. The god domain he used was called the Soul Burial Ground. Rumors said that the reason why he had to do so was due to his bad wounds, and he had to recover quickly. It wasn't half a month, and he had consumed more than 10 life tars. Can you imagine that? Da Meng and the warriors standing next to him paled in fright. They couldn't even utter a word. Chapter 729, Fabricate a New Identity. Chapter 729, Fabricate a New Identity. Making the creatures of more than 10 life stars live in misery just to recover his wounds, using the Soul Burial Ground Dead Upanishad to absorb the vitality of countless species could be considered an extremely ruthless operation. Da Meng's group paled, as they were scared by the brutal cruelty of the other. They didn't know what to comment either. After a while, Da Meng beamed a forced smile. The forces in the raging flamestar area aren't too naive to be bullied, right? Didn't they do anything to take revenge or to stop that man? The smile on Da Meng's father's face was much bitter than his. How could they not do anything? It's quite the opposite. Right when the first life star was destroyed, the forces from everywhere started to send their best hotshots. However, none of them returned. They had all turned into energy for the other to recover his power. Da Meng discolored in fright. He swept over the area like a cloud of grasshoppers. He had killed so many warriors and destroyed more than 10 life stars of the raging flamestar area. In the end, the hermits of many forces had joined hands to kill this man. Da Lei shook his head, his face grimaced. Too bad, the hermits of our raging flamestar area all ran away when they sensed the terror of the other. None of them dared to attack him. Da Meng's group didn't say anything, but their eyes showed that their fear had reached the extreme. Just like what you think, the realm and competence of that man are much more frightening than that of our hermits. Da Lei hesitated for a while before speaking up again. As they knew they weren't his rival, they quit, not daring to engage in a battle with him. What happened in the end? Da Meng contemplated for a while. Seeing his father musing, he asked for the second time. How would it develop according to you? Da Lei forced a smile. The other continued his robbery. He destroyed another 5 life stars. After he had recovered his power, he left our raging flamestar area. Ghost knows where he came from. He was inexplicably strong. Before he left, the hermits of the raging flamestar area had come to see him off with the humble manner of juniors. They hoped that he could teach them something. At that time, our old freaks knew that the other had used the Death Upanishad, and his god domain was called the Soul Burial Ground. But he didn't reveal more. He didn't leave any useful information. Since the day he left, he hasn't reappeared yet. Pausing for a while, Da Lei continued. I thought that it was just a rumor people had fabricated. But today, I'm convinced. Everybody quieted down, as if they were struck hard by the information. Even after a long while, no one had spoken anything. That's it. Da Meng asked, Father, do you believe that kid is the apprentice of that man? I don't believe much. But I don't dare to take risks. Da Lei put on a solemn face. At least, I won't offend him directly. It will help avoid a disaster for our family. What should we do? You disclose the information, saying that Princess Zi Yaro's transporting a large amount of materials and her whereabouts to the others. Let them try. Da Lei pondered and then ordered, You are not allowed to say anything about that boy. Your information should only include Princess Zi Yaro's situation. And, you should fabricate it complicatedly. Try to pass through many people, and don't make the others detect that the information came from us. Da Meng's eyes brightened as he asked, Father, you want to make those stealthy men take action? Well, I'm not that easy to talk with. Da Lei smiled coldly. Not offending him directly doesn't mean that I want to press down my anger. Zi Yaro has swaggered in our territory. I won't let her be satisfied for a long time. All right. As long as they won't put the debt on us, it's all right. Da Meng burst out laughing as he understood his father's intent. You arrange yourself. Remember, Zi Yaro isn't easy to deal with. Don't let her discover you guys. At least, don't let her catch your real weaknesses. It would prevent her from aiming at us, Da Lei said seriously. Father, don't worry. I know what to do. Remember carefully, do not talk about anything related to that kid. Otherwise, it will not be good for any parties. Understood. In the silent and cold outer space, the amethyst battleship moved slowly. Behind it was the massive bronze steamship tagging along. As soon as Shiyang boarded, he felt something wrong. The other warriors, including Berg and Du Feng, were eyeing him strangely. They discreetly kept a distance from him, as if he had a monster inside that could harm them at any minute. Berg and Du Feng had no gleam of disdain in their eyes anymore. Quite the contrary, they became more respectful and cautious. Shiyang could see the deep fear in their eyes. Shiyang didn't know what had happened. He also felt strange on seeing their attitude towards him. However, he couldn't find a clue. You follow me. After steadying her body on the ship, Princess Zi Yaro frowned and contemplated for a long time before calling Shiyang. It was when her amethyst battleship had moved far away from Da Lei's life star. She took a deep breath, raising her ample, milky bosom, and talking tenderly with Shiyang. Shiyang didn't say anything, just following her in silence. Sis. Du Feng suddenly shouted in fright. He wanted to say something, but he didn't finish it. Shut up. Zi Yarrow glared at him, her eyes sharp. I know what I'm doing. Don't cause more troubles. Du Feng retracted his head, not daring to talk more. Berg and the other warriors frowned, their eyes complicated, as they were assessing Shi Yang discreetly. They were afraid of him. Shi Yang walked with Zi Yarrow to a spacious main cabin. Zi Yarrow sat down neatly on a round platform. Her dark brows furrowed, as she no longer wore the bright smile. She seemed to have many thoughts in her head. Shi Yang waited in silence. After a long time, Princess Zi Yarrow lifted her head, looking at him calmly. Who imparted you the Death Upanishad? No one. When I was in the low-grade continent, I found a book, and I've been practicing using that book. After a while, I discovered the Upanishad. Shi Yang wasn't stupid to tell her everything. He found a good reason to pass the topic. Zi Yarrow looked at him. Her star-bright eyes didn't even blink, as if she wanted to see every thought in his head. Shi Yang was natural. There was no gleam of chaos in his eyes. He was relaxed and cold, not showing even a streak of anxiety of lying. No one has taught you that. Zi Yarrow pondered for a while and then continued. Don't worry. You are going on the same way with me. No matter what, I won't hurt you. It's true. No one has taught me, Shi Yang confirmed. He mused for a while and then beamed a faint smile. Powers Upanishad are interlinked. Each power Upanishad, when cultivated to the profound level, could connect with the others. It's the foundation. When you advance a power Upanishad from the foundation, you don't need a teacher to reach the same realm. At that time, you will understand how to perfectly use a power on your own. Shi Yang didn't just make it up. When warriors cultivated a kind of power Upanishad to a deep level, it could be interlinked. Taking the water power Upanishad for example, when a warrior hadn't grasped the essence of the power at the beginning, he would have to use many different martial techniques. Only when he could understand it thoroughly to create the power Upanishad soul altar and the seal of Upanishad in his god soul could he finally understand the principles of water power. And, when he created the god domain, it could be linked all together. It was the same with other powers. When the warrior could cultivate them to the acme, the god domains generated from the powers wouldn't be much different. When a warrior understood the power Upanishad, he would get a good grasp of the fundamental principles. The principles would never change. However, each person would have their own ways of using the power. Anyway, there are so many powers Upanishad in our raging flame star area. We have 5 elements: light, darkness, and so on. They are greatly varied. For example, Da Meng knows the beast merging power Upanishad. No one else can use it. Zi Yarrow's pretty eyes sparkled a beam of strange light. There was a man like you, who controlled the Death Upanishad. He had come for a short period in the raging flame star area. His god domain was called Soul Burial Ground. Zi Yarrow seemed to try to guide Shi Yang's memory. While talking, her voice was calm and relaxing, as her bright eyes were studying Shi Yang from the beginning. However, Shi Yang had shown her nothing anomalous. He seemed to be surprised. Someone has the same power. So, why did you tell me that no one in the raging flame star area knows how to control it? He's not from the raging flame star area. Zi Yarrow beamed a forced smile as she found nothing strange from Shi Yang's countenance. He was so dangerous. He created a catastrophe in the raging flame star area, destroying more than 10 big life stars. Shi Yang was scared. Zi Yarrow pondered for a while and then explained to Shi Yang what Da Lei had told his son. Shi Yang couldn't hide his fear, and was unable to react even after a long while. So, now you know why Da Lei changed his attitude. Zi Yarrow waited until Shi Yang could digest the information, then asked him with furrowed brows. Shi Yang nodded with a heavy visage. I think I got it. However, I have nothing related to that man. He's too strong. I can't reach him. Your Highness, is it true that the identity you fabricated for me could threaten Da Lei? He will be threatened. As long as he can't verify the relationship between you and that man, he will still have something to be afraid of. He won't dare to set us up explicitly. Zi Yarrow suddenly smiled like a blooming flower. Not only him, Anybody who knows about that man won't dare to mess with you. Although your existence is perilous, it can be a strong dose at critical moments. Shi Yang was surprised. His thoughts flickered, and he got it. From now on, you are the apprentice of that man. Remember it. If anyone asks you, just answer you are here to train yourself, and you don't need to tell them the information related to your teacher. Princess Zi Yarrow pondered for a while and then said excitedly, as you can use the death intent domain, people will be afraid of you. As long as they can't prove that you've lied, many people would consider you a peculiar existence. They won't dare to deal with you. And you will be an ace in my hand. At critical moments, your effect could be unimaginable. Chapter 730, The Solar Star Exploding Fragment Field. Chapter 730, The Solar Star Exploding Fragment Field. After the talk with Princess Zi Yarrow, Shi Yang returned to his amethyst cabin. He wasn't assigned another task. Servants would timely visit his cabin, bringing him good food. Since he didn't need to worry about anything, he started to focus on his cultivation. Prince Du Feng and Berg's team would show respect to him every time they saw him. No one dared to disdain him anymore. Some even tried their best to stay away from him as they were afraid that their vitality would be drawn if they stayed close to Shi Yang for a long time. Shi Yang stayed in his cabin and cultivated wholeheartedly. Hence, he recovered in a short period of time. The wounds he got in the battle with Da Meng had disappeared, leaving no scratches at all. Under the magical effects of the immortal martial spirit, his recovery ability was kind of morbid. Since he got to know about the mysteries of his death Upanishad, he started to cultivate and comprehend this power more. When he could create the god domain using this power, it would be much more intimidating. Shi Yang had also contacted the ring spirit of the blood vein ring. He wanted to know the origin of his death Upanishad. Unfortunately, the ring spirit had remained quiet after they escaped the first demon area. It had no longer sent Shi Yang any living energy fluctuation. It seemed the ring had used a lot of its energy, so it had to be dormant. Shi Yang knew that the ring spirit would understand his situation. However, since it didn't contact him, he could have no information. The ring still had some magical barriers inside. After he had broken some barriers, he gained the Rampage, Death and Life Seal, and the technique to raise the inner world 5 devils. Shi Yang knew that hiding behind the barriers would be something magical and formidable. However, he had to reach a certain realm to break those barriers again. It had been really long time since he had last attacked the barrier. Today, as Shi Yang had reached the second sky of True God Realm, both his body and essence chi had extended to a level he had never dared to dream of. However, he couldn't break another barrier. After several failed attempts, Shi Yang stopped without gaining anything. Vaguely, he thought that when he could level up to the King God Realm and have the God Body, he would be able to break another barrier inside the ring to know what was hiding there. The King God Realm seemed not far from him. However, from the second sky of True God Realm to the King God Realm, even if it were a warrior of the Raging Flamestar area, it would take a lot of time. Some people would need dozens or even several hundred years to break through. Once they entered the True God Realm and created the Soul Sacrificial Altar, their longevity would be extended greatly. If nothing unexpected happened, they could even live for several thousand years. Compared to thousands of years, dozens of years or hundreds of years weren't too long. Anyway, to a person who was used to breaking through quickly, this period seemed to be infinitely long. Shi Yang wasn't the type of person who would wait in pain. After pondering for a while, he understood that he had to keep fighting continually to absorb the essence chi from other warriors through slaughtering and push up his progress. All of a sudden, he desired to fight. He desired dangers and slaughter. He wanted chaos. He hated that the forces of the Raging Flamestar area couldn't rebel altogether. To him, only wars could bring him miracles, making him thrive vigorously and gain a deeper knowledge of his powers and realm. On the Amethyst battleship, Princess Zi Yarrow sat neatly on an ivory bone chair. She was looking at some place further in this vast starry universe. Her beautiful eyes flashed, and her face became more solemn. Du Feng, Berg, and some King God Realm warriors were standing behind her. They all had solemn expressions. In front of them was a dazzling light sea. Numerous blinding beams came from countless flaming rocks, emitting a tremendous flaming energy. Each beam could pierce through and melt any object. Once they reached the amethyst battleship, it would be melted gradually. Of course, there were still some gaps between those bunches of light. If they were careful enough, they could dodge them all. This area was famous for its hazardous features in the raging flame star area. It was the solar star exploding fragment field. When the battleships of the forces crossed this area, they would always slow down to avoid the beams. They had to move and worm through the gaps between the lights to prevent getting shot. Few people dared to fight in this area. Because, when they started a battle, they could hardly control the situation. If a King God Realm warrior got hit by the beams of light, his body would melt, and his soul would be burned into dust. However, to many other people, that area hid some marvelous things to comprehend. Some warriors cultivating special power Upanishads would consider this place the holy land for their cultivation, where they could break through their realms. "Sis, are we going to take this way?" Du Feng furrowed his brows tightly. Everyone knows it's dangerous. Many people who don't have a country or a faith stay there. They live only for themselves. They are all tyrannical, and hate all big forces. Once they find us and the materials we are carrying, I don't think the name of the Dark Firmament Divine Nation is enough to scare them. Berg also advised, "Your Highness, should we change the route? Although we have to delay the journey, it will be much safer. If we want to cross this place, I'm not sure we can get out safely with our current force. If we change the route, it will take a lot of time. And, I come here to visit someone." Princess Z Yarrow's face was still bright as usual. She smiled all of a sudden. "No need to worry too much. If we can meet him, we will get out of this place smoothly. I've spent a lot to get his whereabouts. I don't want to give it up." "Who?" Du Feng asked. "Why don't I know him?" "Harumph." Princess Z Yarrow rolled her eyes at him. "If you can behave and stop flirting around, Father will assign you important tasks. Too bad you don't want to compete. You just want to wander around and have fun. You're still at the first sky of King God Realm. I can tell that if you still live like that, Da Meng will surpass you shortly." Du Feng stooped embarrassingly as she was teaching him. He didn't dare to snap back. "Father doesn't have you as his only son," Z Yarrow considered for a while, then softened her voice. "You and I have the same mother. That's why I have to take care of you daily. If you weren't my blood brother, I would never care about you. Sis, I know you want the best for me." "I'm totally wrong," Du Feng lowered his head, answering in a low tone. "Thus, you have to compete and gain the good things for your sister and mother. Don't let the other suppress you." Princess Z Yarrow sighed. Thinking about the situation of the Divine Nation's royal family, she couldn't hide her worries. "You shouldn't mention things related to Shi Yang. Perhaps, his presence would grant you a great reputation in the future. If we can actually connect him and that man, we will gain big shortly." Berg's eyes brightened. He admiringly bowed to her. "You have such a wide vision, Your Highness. It is all for you, Prince Du Feng. Thanks to your sister here, you can avoid many problems." Du Feng seemed to remember his mother. He said with watery eyes, "I know you love me. Thank you, sister. A visit to that man is also what our father wants. If he favors us, it's the best scenario for you and me." Princess Z Yarrow nodded. "Thus, we can't change the route. We must go in there. As long as we can meet him, it won't waste our efforts of taking risks and the thousands of miles we have traveled to get here. If he favors you and me, even if we have to offer all those materials, it will be worth it. Sis, who is he after all?" Du Feng's eyes brightened. "When our father was young, he had befriended a man. It's been years, and they haven't contacted each other." Princess Z Yarrow pondered for a while and then carefully disclosed a part of what she knew. "I heard that our father had offered him the imperial preceptor position, but he denied. Our father wasn't angry. He still tried to maintain a good relationship with him on purpose. If we can ask him to create a closer relationship with the nation, I think our father will be joyful." Du Feng's eyes lit up as he made up his mind. "All right, we should take risks this time. If we can get his approval, we can have a stronger assurance. Your Highness, we admire your labor, Berg said respectfully. I have only one brother. Even if he can't endure it, I have to plan everything for him. Princess Zi Yarrow beamed a forced smile. The Empire has its own rules. The competition for the Crown Prince position is always brutal and merciless. Princes who fail won't have a decent ending. Of course, I have to calculate everything beforehand. Du Feng stooped lower, his face touched. In the area where lights were entangling with wild bursting energy emitting from countless burning meteorolites, almost 100 strange war chariots were gathering in a corner. Those chariots were all dark green and tiger shark-shaped, around 10 meters long. They were decorated with exquisite drawings, shooting out sharp auras. Sitting neatly on the biggest tiger shark chariot was a bulky man with a shiny bald head. He was a member of the Dark Spirit clan. This man was wearing armor with numerous bloodstains. His aura was brutal and ferocious like a bloodthirsty beast. Are we all here? He lifted his head, looking at the area where lights were entangling not far from them. His sight seemed to cross the blinding beams of light to a faraway place. Commander, we're all here. A young man of the human clan kneeled down, cracking a bright but cruel smile. We can take action at any minute. Yeah, the man nodded, talking with a husky tone. Remember, do not make mistakes. If we take action, we won't let any fish escape our net, understand? They are the royal members of the Dark Firmament Divine Nation. If it's disclosed, we're gonna have big troubles. Commander, you're so brave. You dare touch the royal members of the Dark Firmament Divine Nation. In our place, only our commander can have such guts. You aren't afraid of the prowess of the nation at all, the young man tried to be more servile. If the price is high enough, we can always take risks out of desperation. If we have no way to run, we can retreat to the desolate lonesome dead territory. After 10 years or 100 years, we can dodge the wind easily. The leader grinned fiendishly. The payment we got this time isn't only the materials the others carrying. Someone has priced a good deal for a guy. That's what I want. It's worth taking risks this time. Someone has set a big price. The young man of the human clan was amazed. Then, he probed cautiously. Who is that? Mwahaha, I can't tell, the commander laughed contentedly. I'd like to participate in people's internal matters. It's okay if they think we are just a piece of their chessboard. As long as they pay us adequately, I don't feel humiliated being a chess piece. How wise you are. Mwahaha. Strolling in outer space, you can't survive for a long time without a wide vision, buddy. Chapter 731, Space Pirates. Chapter 731, Space Pirates. The amethyst battleship slowed down deliberately. In just a blink, it was 5 times slower than before. Shi Yang was sensitive enough to catch this change. He walked out of his cabin, heading to the main deck. At first glance, he saw Princess Zi Yarrow, Du Feng, and Berg there with their solemn countenances. He was surprised as he found a flow of soul fluctuation sent from his star martial spirit. In his sea of consciousness, the star Upanishad also rippled, as if it had found something marvelous. Looking at the space ahead of him, Shi Yang was dazed. In front of his eyes was a sea of flames and burning light. Countless massive scorching meteorolites floated, as if they had been heated to the acme. Shi Yang could see the beams of light that were so hot that they could melt any matter. The earth flame was shaking in thrill. It was overjoyed, dancing in its soul altar, sending Shi Yang its happy soul thought. This place is marvelous. It suits me best. I love this place so much. Shi Yang was surprised. He was in a daze for a while before he realized the dense, burning halo quietly rolled into the center of his star martial spirit. His entire body was bathed in warm light energy. He didn't need to urge his power to see how big the benefit he had just gained was. Shi Yang was so comfortable he couldn't hold his groan. Ah! Princess Zi Yarrow sighed while talking to Du Feng and Berg. She exhaled gently and then smiled at him. Oh, here you are. Shi Yang nodded, smiling brightly. I suddenly found the ship slowing down, so I came out to check it out. Haha, what is this place? Looks so strange. Seeing Shi Yang, Du Feng, Berg, and the others paled slightly. They instinctively gathered their energy, in case their vitality started to be drawn. After they knew that Shi Yang could use the soul burial ground, they became wary of him. None of them dared to come close to Shi Yang, avoiding him discreetly. Du Feng sensed for a while. After he could confirm that his vitality wasn't being drawn out, he finally eased his mind. He squeezed a reluctant smile and then nodded at Shi Yang. Have you got used to the ship yet? My attitude wasn't good. Please forgive me. Yeah, wait until we come back. I will give you a life star to fulfill my promise. Don't hold a grudge against me. Princess Zi Yaro's beautiful eyes sparkled. She nodded quietly as she thought that her brother had finally grown up. Shi Yang was quite surprised. He looked at Du Feng several times with an odd face. As he found that the other wasn't joking, he clasped his fist and talked to him. It's your appreciation. How can I be talented enough to ask for a life star from you? Moreover, my realm is too low. Even if you grant me the life star, I can't keep it for a long time. We should just forget it. Then, I will keep it for you first. When you feel you need it, you can take it. As long as you ask me, I will give you at any time. I will absolutely keep my words this time, Du Feng said with a serious visage. Although Shi Yang was more suspicious, he didn't show it out. He beamed a faint smile. Oh, thank you. I will always remember the favor from your highness. Don't be too polite. You've saved me. I should do something for you. Du Feng suddenly became excited, smiling. This place is called the Solar Star Exploding Fragment Field. Did you see the 3 suns on Da Lei's life star? Princess Zi Yaro stood up from her seat, waving at him to signal him to come closer. Shi Yang sauntered towards her, smiling. You said the 3 suns? Yeah, in Raging Flame Star area, we call the sun a solar star. Perhaps you don't know, but we could see 4 solar stars from Da Lei's life star. But that was a long time ago. Zi Yaro pointed to her side. This place used to be the 4th solar star. However, it exploded, creating the solar star exploding fragment field we are watching here. The solar star exploding fragment field has countless fragments of the solar star. They radiate the furious sunlight that can melt any creature or matter. Even myself, a 3rd Sky of King God Realm expert, could be melted if exposed to the sunlight for a long time. Shi Yang was frightened. Dangers in outer space were everywhere indeed. This solar star exploding fragment field was much more perilous than the energy storms. If what Zi Yaro said were true, this area would be too terrifying. That was why his star martial spirit had gained big benefits, and the Earth Flame was happy as soon as he had arrived in this area. This place was a special area created by a sun explosion. No battleship dares to move fast in the solar star exploding fragment field. Once we get in contact with those sunbeams, even my amethyst battleship will be melted quickly. Princess Zi Yaro continued her explanation. So, we need to slow down. And, space pirates often visit this area. If we meet them, it will be a bigger trouble. Space pirates. Shi Yang's eyes sparkled with a strange light. They aren't afraid of the dark firmament divine nation? They dare attack you guys too? Du Feng beamed a forced smile as he answered him. The space pirates all have secret whereabouts. They don't have their life stars. They often operate in perilous areas in the Raging Flame Star area to rob the battleships. Once they get what they want, they will find a place to hide away. It's possible that they won't show up for 100 years. We can't capture them. Shi Yang got it right after the other had finished. He had talked with Du Feng many times in the bronze steamship. Shi Yang knew that the Raging Flame Star area had many dangerous experts, which could expand their soul consciousness to several life stars. Their competencies were unimaginably incredible. Anyway, even such warriors couldn't really control each area of the Raging Flame Star area, as they couldn't sense all the commotions everywhere. Also, this star area had so many bizarre and peculiar areas that could prevent the soul consciousness from surveying. For example, the Lonesome Dead territory could deactivate all kinds of soul sensing. When the soul consciousness got into that area, it would feel like it was barricaded in an endless darkness, where it could sense nothing. If the space pirates took shelter in a similar area, no expert could use his soul consciousness to find them. And, what intensified their headache was that the raging flamestar area had too many areas like that. Those experts couldn't go and check each area themselves. Thus, even if the space pirates robbed a strong force they shouldn't create grudges with, they could deliberately retreat. As long as they didn't show up, it was hard to find them. Oh, that's how it is, Shi Yang nodded. Space pirates love to visit this solar star exploding fragment field. Princess Zi Yarrow, Du Feng, Berg, and the others nodded with an ugly smile. So, why have you chosen this route? Couldn't we change the direction? Asked Shi Yang. We have our problems. If we don't have to, who wants to visit this area? Zi Yarrow smiled nonchalantly, but she didn't explain thoroughly. It's good that you finally come out of your cabin. Secluded training for a long time isn't good for breaking through. The solar star exploding fragment field is also a wonder of the raging flamestar area. It's stunning and unpredictable. You can observe this sight of outer space. Perhaps it could widen your mind and help you break through again. It's not that easy, Shi Yang smiled. He understood that she was just saying so. He didn't put it in his mind, just watching the marvelous solar star exploding fragment field and chatting with them. Each of the massive flaming meteorolites seemed to gush out melting burning liquid, which radiated the formidable sunbeams. They weaved, entangling with each other and creating the magnificent light nets. The flaming meteorolites were the fragments of the solar star. They hovered quietly like countless flames or giant lanterns, gloriously illuminating the whole area. The temperature of this area was of course too high. Although Zi Yarrow's team was wearing thin clothes, their bodies were still damp with sweat. Du Feng and Berg were all right, but the sweat rolling on their bodies obviously didn't give Shi Yang any sense of beauty. Zi Yarrow was different. When her flimsy silky dress was soaked in sweat, it stuck to her perfectly charming body, revealing her seducing curves. It had increased her glamour by hundreds of times, making people's veins bulge and eyes get hot, as if they could even breathe out fire from their eyes. Standing beside her, Shi Yang would sometimes let his eyes wander over her body for a while. It had stirred up his heart, making him want to eye her more. He suddenly felt so hot he couldn't bear it. Shi Yang thought that this solar star exploding fragment field was really scorching. Shortly, he was sweating like summer rain. However, he didn't recognize it, still talking to Zi Yarrow and Du Feng. Sometimes, we will sweat, and sweating means no harm. Even if we have the god body, in this solar star exploding fragment field, if we don't use our power, we are no different from ordinary people. Princess Zi Yarrow smiled as she had busted him sneaking at her. However, she didn't care about it, her smile getting brighter. When ordinary people arrive at this area, even if they can hide inside the battleship, they are unable to bear the heat. If they have the guts to expose their bodies, they will be melted shortly. However, we don't want to use energy now to make our god body adapt to the harsh ambience. It's considered a kind of strenuous training for us. While Shi Yang was listening to her, he peeked at her body from time to time. Eventually, his face reddened, as he had a particular masculine reaction toward her. Gradually, Shi Yang felt that he couldn't hold it anymore, and he felt embarrassed too. He contemplated for a while and then tried to move his attention to other things. He released his soul consciousness, taking a walk inside the solar star exploding fragment field. As Shi Yang had comprehended space power Upanishad, his soul consciousness had been added with space power. Although his realm was the lowest among this group, the area his soul consciousness could cover was much greater than Zi Yarrow at the third sky of King God realm, all thanks to the existence of space power. While he was concentrating on his soul consciousness surveying, he could escape his embarrassing situation. The range his soul consciousness could reach was extended further and further. Gradually, his soul felt tired, which was the sign of overexertion. His soul consciousness had reached too far, beyond his realm's capability. Shi Yang was dazed, wanting to retrieve his soul consciousness to recover. However, at this moment, one of his furthest beams of soul consciousness reported him the energy fluctuation of living beings. Shi Yang was a little bit startled. He retreated all the other beams of soul consciousness and poured more soul energy into that beam of soul consciousness to survey further. Shi Yang was shaken. His flow of soul consciousness had had an astonishing discovery. Chapter 732, Zi Yaro's Promise. Chapter 732, Zi Yaro's Promise. Almost 100 tiger shark war chariots were hiding behind a massive flaming meteorolite. They were all quiet like ferocious animals waiting for their prey, pretty much calm and persistent. Many warriors with profound realms were standing on the tiger shark chariots. They didn't wear a uniform, but had the same cold and savage countenance. Those warriors belonged to different races. Shi Yang recognized the leader was a bald-headed Dark Spirit Clan's member. He had a mighty build, accompanying a savage appearance. Shi Yang's flow of soul consciousness was flying parallel to a sunbeam. With the flaming energy he had added to his soul consciousness, it was hard to detect his beam. He secretly observed for a while. As he felt the situation wasn't so good, he retreated. Standing on the main deck of the Amethyst battleship, Princess Zi Yaro was discussing the trip with Du Feng, Berg, and the other warriors. They made the ship dodge the sunbeams as if they didn't have a fixed route. All of them were soaked in sweat, as if they were lying in a steam pot. Their faces were reddened. Shi Yang was the same. However, he had restated his calm manner, and he didn't peek at the beautiful disaster next to him anymore. While Zi Yaro was talking with Berg's group, she would throw him a glance from time to time. Her beautiful eyes were smiling, as if she wanted to see more of his stealthy act, considering it cute and interesting. When she found that Shi Yang had become calm, she started to concentrate more. As the princess found Shi Yang had released his soul consciousness, she didn't notice him anymore and started to talk to Berg's team about their next operations. At this moment, Shi Yang's gloomy eyes, which just had no target, brightened. While frowning, he turned to Zi Yaro, his face turning more solemn. "Hold on." Princess Zi Yaro furrowed her brows as she was surprised. "Hold on. Why do you want to stop here? We are moving pretty slow. Why do you want to stop?" Du Feng and Berg looked at him with confused eyes. If he hadn't shown his formidable potentials, Du Feng and Berg would have mocked him by now. However, as they were all afraid of him, they didn't dare to babble, giving him the chance to explain his idea. "Do you want to go to that area?" "Yeah, we will reach that area after 50 miles, I guess." As Shi Yang wasn't so sure, he considered his words more, extending one arm and pointing in a direction. The others changed their visages. Zi Yaro nodded. "True. Although we're changing the direction constantly, we have to go through that area. That place will be safer for our battleship. It doesn't have many sunbeams, so we can reduce the danger." She paused for a while and then smiled at him. "You've surprised me as you can show the most appropriate direction when you've just been in the solar star exploding fragment field for the first time. Tell me, how did you know we would have to go through that area?" After she finished her explanation, Shi Yang could confirm his information. He then said resolutely, "We can't go there." Everybody got surprised. What has happened? Princess Zi Yaro's visage was somber. His attitude made her anxious. "You've found something, perhaps? I didn't know that you would have to go there. However, I recommend not to. There are almost 100 tiger shark war chariots standing by. Also, I found several hundred warriors at different levels. They wear different clothes. And, the leader's a member of the Dark Spirit Clan, a bald-headed one. His aura's really intimidating. I think he's stronger than you." Shi Yang took a deep breath. "I think they are the space pirates you've mentioned. And, our force isn't enough to counter them." When he finished, Zi Yaro, Du Feng, Berg and the others had their countenances changed dramatically. They shuddered in thrill. "How could you see them?" Du Feng screamed hoarsely. "Is it real? Soul consciousness will meet obstacles in the solar star exploding fragment field, which makes its coverage shrink. How could you sense that area?" Berg and the other warriors also had a disbelieving look on their faces. Zi Yaro believed him. Not only believing in him, she immediately ordered, "Stop." Berg nodded and then screamed. Almost instantly, the Amethyst battleship halted, hovering near some massive meteorolites. It didn't move anymore. Tiger shark chariots. The shiny bald-headed dark spirit clan's man, strong aura, Zi Yarrow mumbled with a solemn countenance. Shortly, she became grimaced. Ka Tuor. It's bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor. Du Feng and Berg paled badly as if there was no blood running in their bodies. No, impossible. Is it a miscalculation? Du Feng whined, scratching his head as he didn't want to believe in it. Why is it that slaughtering star? As Shi Yang has just arrived in the raging flame star area, if he didn't see him, he couldn't describe in detail like that. Zi Yarrow took a deep breath and then determined herself resolutely. Define a new direction. We must avoid that area. Bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor rarely comes to this area. If he's prepared already, it's 90% sure we're his targets. Ah! Du Feng screamed in panic. We have no grudges against him, right? Zi Yarrow's face grimaced. Grudge? Did any of the ones he killed have a grudge against him? He's waiting there. It means someone has given him the information of our trip. Someone wants us to die. Du Feng suddenly got it. He discolored immediately. Sis, you are saying that someone we know has sold us and asked him to kill us? Yep, certainly. Otherwise, he couldn't make that correct timing. Zi Yarrow snorted impatiently. At this moment, we shouldn't talk about this. First, we need to dodge bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor. When we're safe, we will figure out who wants to take our lives. Du Feng paled. Zi Yarrow and Berg quickly determined a new route and instantly changed the direction of the amethyst battleship. Shi Yang, help me. Keep an eye on them. When they have any commotion, report me immediately. Princess Zi Yarrow didn't smile anymore, talking to Shi Yang. If we can dodge this disaster, you will be the hero. I will save that quota to the extreme purgatory field for you. Sis, didn't you agree with Aojera? Du Feng screamed in fright. Berg was astounded. Your Highness, if you give it to Shi Yang, what should we do with Aojera? He's not easy to deal with. I will arrange his business. Don't worry, I'll handle it. Zi Yarrow knitted her brows as if she got a headache. To make Shi Yang fight for them, she had to use her initial capital. Although Shi Yang didn't know what the extreme purgatory field was, through his observation during this period, he could guess it was the best place for warriors to train their souls and spirit. Seeing Zi Yarrow promise to give him her only quota, he was secretly excited. He immediately gathered his soul consciousness, extending towards the direction he had sensed earlier. The amethyst battleship continued its journey. The massive bronze steamship was following neither slowly nor fast. After 15 minutes, Shi Yang slightly paled, speaking up in a low tone. Not good. His eyes flared with strange light, looking at Zi Yarrow, Du Feng, and Berg, then shifted his look towards the massive bronze steamship behind them. Princess Zi Yarrow, can bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor sense our location with this far distance? Ka Tuor's at the third sky of King God realm. Although we have the same realm, he entered the realm earlier than me. His power should be much denser and richer than mine. Anyway, the soul consciousness's coverage is limited in this solar star exploding fragment field. I think he shouldn't be able to locate us. Zi Yarrow hesitated for a while and then added. Anyway, if he's like you with many secrets, perhaps he can do that. Shi Yang was startled, squeezing a forced smile. Then how could he know we've changed our direction? He also changed his location. Now, he has blockaded us again. After he finished, Zi Yarrow, Du Feng, and Berg became more grimaced. Is it possible that one of you has sent him the intelligence stealthily? Shi Yang considered his words, mumbling. Zi Yarrow was ashen as she thought about this possibility. A gleam of panic crossed her eyes. She pondered for seconds and then said, Berg, Antrim, you two bring Prince Du Feng and leave. The amethyst battleship has big volume, so it will be slow in the solar star exploding fragment field. You guys take an amethyst chariot and cross the solar star exploding fragment field. Go straight ahead, don't pause. Sister, Your Highness. Du Feng and Berg screamed in unison. Leave. Now. Zi Yarrow's face was somber. I'm sure they are not just targeting our goods. They want our lives. Even in our organization, I don't think we're safe. But I believe in Berg and Antrim. You two have always followed me. You won't have other thoughts. Promise me, take Du Feng home safely. Berg and another warrior were shaken. They kneeled down, talking with stooped heads. We won't fail you. Then, Berg and Antrim shouted. A war chariot flew out from the massive amethyst battleship. However, it was different from Zi Yaro's chariot. It should be another one. Sis, I don't want to leave. I want to fight shoulder with you. If we have to leave, we should go together. Du Feng wasn't so frightened at this moment as he shouted, even if he's the bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor, we will make him pay. Stop talking nonsense. Zi Yaro shouted ear-splittingly. As her thought flickered, she put her jade-like hand on Du Feng's shoulder to restrain his power. She didn't mind the painful struggling in his eyes as Zi Yaro turned to Berg and Antrim. Take him immediately. Berg nodded heavily. Your Highness, don't worry. Even if we have to die, we will deliver our prince safely. Then, they took Du Feng to the amethyst chariot. Without any words, they turned into a bunch of purple light, zooming far away in just a blink. If we can survive this trap, don't worry, I will never mistreat you. As Zi Yaro could relax her nerves a bit, she looked at Shi Yang with great seriousness on her face and then smiled. Glory and wealth, beautiful ladies and servants. Everything you want, it won't be too far from reach. Shi Yang's countenance was indifferent. He smiled naturally, then, I have to thank you in advance. He had been through so many deadly circumstances, in which he would have died for sure. He believed firmly that only putting him into the harshest and bloodiest battlefield could give him chances to break through. He felt that an opportunity was waving at him. Chapter 733, Share the Hardship. Chapter 733, Share the Hardship. The others' speed was much faster than what they had thought. Not long after Prince Du Feng, Berg, and Antrim left, bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor and his space pirates changed their direction again. At this moment, the other didn't try to block their way, using the wildest speed instead to storm towards them directly. Since the volume of the war chariots was much smaller than the battleship, they were moving more agilely in the solar star exploding fragment field. In other words, the amethyst battleship and the massive bronze steamship couldn't be faster than the chariots. It was obvious that they would be caught soon. When Shi Yang told her about their operations, Zi Yaro became ashen. She knew she had a traitor on her battleship. The amethyst battleship had almost 100 warriors. They were all under her command. Some of them had been with her for so many years. In such a short given time, she couldn't find out that traitor. And, she didn't dare to do anything rash, as she was afraid that she could dispirit the others. For the time being, she had no good solution, so she had to plan one step after she finished another. As the battleship was still moving, Shi Yang was sitting neatly next to Zi Yaro, his face calm and cold. He was using his soul consciousness to detect the direction of the pirates. After a while, Shi Yang opened his eyes with a forced smile. Looking at Princess Zi Yaro next to him, he said begrudgingly, After 2 hours max, the others will catch up with us. If we don't have a way around, we can't dodge this battle inevitably. Zi Yaro's beautiful eyes were bewildered. She took a deep breath and then said, Their targets should be my brother and me. The cargo we are carrying is just the spoils of war. Shi Yang kept silent, looking at her as he didn't know what to say in this situation. Da Jie, shouted Zi Yaro. A King God Realm warrior slight bent his body toward her. At your service, your highness. Arrange war chariots for all staff on the ship. Scatter. No one needs to stay on the ship, ordered Zi Yaro. The other King God Realm warrior nodded, then went to the lower deck to arrange everything. Not long after that, many small war chariots started to detach from the battleship. Each chariot carried 7 to 10 warriors. Those warriors didn't have a high realm, and many of them were the princess's servants, who were in charge of checking the materials on the battleship. Shortly, warriors on the amethyst battleship left one after another. They scattered everywhere like bunches of purple light. Still, 3 warriors were standing by Zi Yarrow, waiting for her orders. One of them was Da Jie. Inform the others to leave. No one needs to stay, Zi Yarrow continued to order with a serious look on her face. Da Jie nodded, sending her order to the warriors on the bronze steamship behind them. Shortly, many strangely shaped chariots flew out of the bronze steamship. They moved agilely like fish swimming and dodging the deadly sunbeams. Soon, they left this dangerous area. Your Highness, we can leave now. Seeing many people running away, Da Jie bowed to the princess and spoke up with a solemn tone. I'm not sure those who leave could survive. I believe that half of them would be killed by bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor's team. Zi Yarrow smiled miserably, sighing. But when they scatter and escape, they can disorder the others' formation. They can buy more time for Du Feng to leave. Although many of them will die, some can still survive. It's still better than staying here. If they stay, they will all be killed inevitably. Shi Yang looked at her but didn't understand her. Do you think I am cold-blooded? Zi Yarrow turned, looking at Shi Yang with her complicated eyes. Shaking his head, Shi Yang smiled calmly. No. If you keep them here, they would surely die. Under given circumstances, they can have a way to survive. I didn't expect this situation. I didn't think that space pirates would wait for us here. This was my wrong strategy. Zi Yarrow smiled begrudgingly, then turned to Da Jie. You guys should leave too. I'll stay. Your Highness. Da Jie and the other warriors changed their countenance, shouting in unison in order to stop her. I have responsibilities that can't be shirked from. I stay to seize more time for you to leave. Zi Yarrow's eyes were resolute. I'm their target. If they see me here, they won't chase after the others much. Then, many of us can survive. You don't need to convince me. You should leave right now, immediately. I want each one of us to survive, so we can meet each other again. Da Jie's team was so sorrowful. They firmly shook their heads, not wanting to leave. Shi Yang frowned, observing everything discreetly. Something strange glinted in his eyes. Although Princess Zi Yarrow was a member of the royal family, at this critical moment, she had thought for her cortege. She wasn't a bad princess. Even though they knew what they were about to encounter, her warriors didn't want to leave. This spoke up the fact that she was trustworthy, and she had treated them well, which made them not afraid of death. You don't want to follow my words. Zi Yarrow's eyes were cold. I am at the third sky of King God Realm. Although the bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor's power is a little bit stronger than me, he can't kill me easily. Do you think that I have to die inevitably? Da Jie's group shook their heads, but they still didn't want to leave. I'm using my name and my title of a princess to order you to leave. Immediately. If you can survive, help me save my force. Staying here is more dangerous for all than leaving. If you are all dead, my loss is going to be the biggest. Zi Yarrow ordered with a cold face. Under her advice, Da Jie's team nodded sorrowfully, using another amethyst chariot to leave. I say leave. You too. Why don't you leave? Zi Yarrow frowned, looking at Shi Yang while the surroundings became strangely quiet. Your time following me has been the shortest. You don't need to take risks with me. Just now, I meant for you to leave together with Da Jie's team. Shi Yang smiled, talking deliberately. Because I've spent the least amount of time with you, I don't know the others. And of course, I won't report your whereabouts to your enemy. Besides Berg and Antrim, I think I'm the one who's worth your trust the most. As he had observed, Shi Yang knew that although Zi Yarrow was talking big and brave, she didn't believe Da Jie's team wholeheartedly. If they stayed, no matter how hard she tried to escape, the traitor would still be there. Bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor still could track her down. He would be like her shadow, and she would never escape. Zi Yarrow was truly a kind woman. She wanted her people to survive. But, if saying that her goodwill didn't include herself, Shi Yang would never believe it. Zi Yarrow was astounded for a while. She pondered, then talked with a strange countenance. You're smart. Shi Yang just smiled and didn't say anything further. The reason why he stayed was the same. Besides Zi Yarrow, he didn't believe anyone else. At the second sky of True God Realm, His realm was too low. Once he detached from Zi Yarrow, the traitor would kill him as easily as flipping his hand. Even though staying with Zi Yarrow was perilous, he didn't need to worry that she would attack him while he didn't notice. And, through the hardship of strenuous battles, he could break through shortly by collecting essence chi of dead people to strengthen his power. This was a rare chance he didn't want to miss. Well, you want to stay, so I have nothing to comment. We will fight shoulder to shoulder. Honestly, I did hope that you would stay. With you here, my chance of surviving would be bigger. Zi Yarrow smiled tenderly. After all members of her delegation had gone, she calmed down, and wasn't as anxious and tense as before. What do we have on this battleship and the bronze steamship? Shi Yang asked naturally. He seemed not afraid of anything. Cultivated spiritual herbs and plants, precious mineral products, and many auxiliary materials for cultivation. Zi Yarrow looked painful, twisting her long hair that looked like a waterfall as she was listing the materials. Thinking about destroying those things, I'm bleeding inside. Those are priceless, and essential to warriors for their cultivation. I don't want to do it. Shi Yang was stunned. What's strange? Zi Yarrow threw him a glance, smiling miserably. I can't bring all of them with me. Should I leave them for bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor? If I can't have them, I have to destroy them. We must not let them benefit without paying anything. Why don't you use the storage rings to store them? Shi Yang asked. But he immediately realized how stupid his question was. If they could simply do that, why would Zi Yarrow need to use the battleship to stock those materials? If we put those spiritual herbs and plants inside the rings, without the heaven and earth spiritual chi to nurture them, they will shrivel quickly. Many mineral products on the ship will counter the space inside the ring. If we can put them into the storage ring, why do we need to use the battleship to transport then? Zi Yarrow burst out laughing and then continued, and, some ores are incomparably heavy. A small piece can be as heavy as a giant meteorolite. The ring can't bear them. Shi Yang smiled embarrassedly, nodding his head. I understand. You go to the bronze steamship and destroy the spiritual grass there. I will destroy this place. We need to burn them completely. As for the mineral ores, Sai, just let bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor take them. Princess Zi Yarrow's jade-like finger pointed at the bronze steamship behind them. Shi Yang didn't move. Magical light sparkled in his eyes as though he was thinking of some possibilities. What? Zi Yarrow stopped, turning to him suspiciously. Don't you need them anymore? Do you want to obliterate them? Shi Yang's eyes flared up while asking in a serious tone. Zi Yarrow nodded painfully. I can't bring them all. But I don't want to leave them to bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor. I have no choice. Then I will help you. Shi Yang's face trembled, then he suddenly grinned at Zi Yarrow. Perhaps we can find them later. Then, he sat down next to Zi Yarrow. Energy started to circulate massively in his body. An extremely swift and sharp aura appeared in front of him under his soul consciousness guidance. Zi Yarrow was astounded, looking at him bewildered, as she didn't know what he's doing. Chapter 734, Bloody Slaughterer Ka Tuor. Chapter 734, Bloody Slaughterer Ka Tuor. Shi Yang sat neatly and nonchalantly. He appeared natural and calm, but the energy that rippled from him was extremely sharp. That sharp energy shot to the area between the amethyst battleship and the bronze steamship, making it disorderly chaotic. Slowly, a narrow space crack appeared little by little in that twisted, chaotic area. It appeared as if a pair of invisible hands were pulling that crack, making it wider. Shortly, the crack had been elongated to dozens of meters. Beautiful lights were moving dazzlingly while space energies were pulling and tearing each other miraculously. Flows of soul consciousness guided light from his body, which then changed the chaotic space over there into a massive space crack. Inside the crack was the chaotic space basin, with endless colorful beams of light that looked like a real wonder of the world. Shi Yang slight opened his eyes, turning to Princess Zi Yarrow, who was still in a daze, smiling brightly. My understanding of space power Upanishad isn't deep enough. But still, it's not hard to make a space crack. Anyway, After the two giant ships enter that space, it's hard to locate them in the unknown space, unless my understanding of space power could be upgraded. Xi Yarrow was dumbstruck, as strange light rippled in her beautiful eyes. An obvious joy appeared on her charming face. You know space power Upanishad too? Shi Yang touched his forehead, then nodded and smiled. I have the space power Upanishad in my soul altar. Just like the death intent domain, it has created a seal of Upanishad. Xi Yarrow's pretty eyes were brighter as she smiled more beautifully than the most attractive flower. No wonder why you could locate Bloody Slaughterer Ka-2 Your soul consciousness can cover a wider range than mine. Turns out you have some attainment of space power. Well, I did underestimate you. Shi Yang burst out laughing. Is it true that space power Upanishad is a rare power even in your raging flaming star area? Xi Yarrow rolled her eyes. She felt both funny and annoyed at the same time as she explained. You don't know anything. In any high-level continent, space power is the heaven gate. Not only is it hard to obtain, but also so hard to advance. In our raging flame star area, people who make space power their main power to break through are really rare. I have never heard of anybody who has reached the level to be able to tear the space like you. Shaking her head, Xi Yarrow pulled the purple hair draping in front of her forehead, speaking strangely. You, buddy, you always make people surprised. Not only is there your death Upanishad, which can create the soul burial ground, but also your space power that you've used to rip the space. Ah, seriously? Are you really from a low-level continent? Are you always trying to be nice to deceive me? No way, Shi Yang felt wronged. If I came from a star area or a continent that is ranked higher, why wouldn't I know anything about your place? Moreover, I fell into a disadvantaged situation right at the beginning. You guys have threatened and detained me, and I've never gained the upper hand. If I came from a higher-level continent, would I still hold on to this humiliation? Xi Yarrow looked at him in the eyes seriously, as if she wanted to see through his mind. Shi Yang still acted naturally. So, can I start now? Do it. We can't bring them with us anyway. If we put them into the unknown space, perhaps when you break through again, we can find them later. Xi Yarrow smiled and nodded as she suddenly felt better. As long as Blood Slaughterer's group couldn't take her stuff, even if she actually lost them, it would be relatively easy to accept it. Getting her approval, Shi Yang didn't hesitate anymore. He distorted his space power, enlarging that space crack. Xi Yarrow stood up and cooperated with him proactively. First, she drove the amethyst battleship into that crack. Then, she leaped up and landed on the giant steamship. Shi Yang didn't know what she had done. However, the bronze steamship started to move towards his space crack. Shi Yang left a permanent soul seal of his soul consciousness on the two ships before retrieving his power. He felt tired, trying to recover his energy in silence. His knowledge and perception of space power hadn't reached a profound level yet. The space crack he had created couldn't be moved. Otherwise, he could use the space cracks to swallow all of his enemies. Shi Yang understood that Bloody Slaughterer Ka-2's team of space pirates were all people with profound realms. Once they detected the space cracks, they would disperse, giving him no chance to accomplish his goal. Only when his understanding of space power advanced to another level could he make the space cracks appear from nowhere, and move it around to drag all of his enemies into this massive trap. To create such massive space crack, Shi Yang had to consume a lot of his energy. He had used 1/3 of his essence chi, and his spirit also felt tired. He wanted to use the divine crystal to replenish it quickly. Using the divine crystal to recover your power is too slow. This recovery divine pellet could make you restore your energy to your peak. Xi Yarrow generously took out a dark green pellet, which had many islets on its surface. A strange green energetic energy was diffusing from those small holes. Shi Yang didn't pretend to be polite. He reached his hand towards the recovery god pellet and swallowed it without any hesitation. As soon as the pellet got into his mouth, it turned into a green stream, flowing into his stomach. Immediately, it dispersed into countless tiny pure energy streams, seeping through his vessels, muscles, and the essence chi ancient tree. Energy stored in this recovery god pellet was thick beyond his imagination. With the support of the pellet, his consumed essence chi had been supplemented. Shi Yang felt comfortable and refreshed, as his spirit, soul, and chi were benefited. This recovery god pellet's just a level 7 sacred grade medicinal pellet. Since you haven't reached the king god realm yet, you can't stand the other better pellets. This pill is suitable and enough for you to restore your power. Zi Yarrow smiled tenderly. She seemed to be in a good mood. The two of them got in an amethyst war chariot, which had her crown marked on it. Until this moment, she didn't hasten to run away, as she was waiting for the enemy in silence. Shi Yang didn't react, trying to digest the pellet and sending energy to his entire body to recover fast. The battle would be up at any minute. And his realm was too weak to compare to those space pirates. When they attacked, without being at his peak state, he would have to struggle hard to survive. He didn't dare to waste even a minute. However, Zi Yarrow let out a light shout before he had recovered fully. Here they come. Shi Yang was shaken. He stopped urging his digestion of the medicinal pellet, standing up and watching the space out here. Gradually, light spots started to appear at the place where thick sunbeams were weaving. Those light spots were as big as a fingernail. As they were zooming over rapidly, they were getting bigger. Shi Yang gathered his soul consciousness, his face grimaced. Those who were heading towards them were the space pirates he had sensed. The tiger shark war chariots had been carved in his mind. Soon, the luminescent spots became larger and larger. The tiger shark war chariots revealed their original shape, worming between the sunbeams, as agile and swift as fishes swimming in the ocean at fast speed. Hiss! Grating hissing suddenly arose. It was so sharp that it could even tear people's eardrums, irritating them. Standing on a tiger shark chariot was a muscular man from the Dark Spirit clan. He looked so ferocious with a shiny bald head. Although he hadn't arrived yet, his angry roar echoed everywhere. Damn it! Where's the cargo? Where are those 2F** king battleships? Goddamn it! Besides Princess Zi Yarrow and Prince Dufeng, his other targets were the two ships carrying so many good things. He had crossed thousands of miles and waited for so long just to see those materials. Today, getting here but seeing that his targets weren't there, he got enraged immediately. His ear-splitting voice was like a saber, constantly roaring and thundering. Behind him were many space pirates that came from different races. They also put on cold and harsh faces, looking here and there to detect the preys that were supposed to be here. Unfortunately, they found nothing. That shiny bald-headed guy is Bloody Slaughterer Ka Tuor. Among the space pirates, he's a famous butcher. Even if his prey give him all their properties, they will be slaughtered. No one can escape him. Wherever he visits, blood will splash. That's why he got the title of Bloody Slaughterer. Zi Yarrow was still calm and natural. At this critical moment, she didn't forget to explain more to Shi Yang. Encountering such butchers, we don't need to think about him coming in peace. If he doesn't die, we will be doomed. Of course, it's hard to kill him. Saving our lives is what we have to do. Shi Yang nodded nonchalantly, his eyes calm. Don't worry. I know what to do. Haha. Yeah, you don't need to do anything. Zi Yarrow looked at him, letting out a chuckle. Your realm's too low. If you fight face to face with a King God Realm warrior, you have no chance to win. Bloody Slaughterer Ka Tuor still has a brutal mate at the second sky of King God Realm in his gang. Don't act rashly. Listening to her, Shi Yang couldn't help but beam a forced smile, nodding begrudgingly. Zi Yarrow didn't hasten to leave. She stood serenely, looking at the incoming tiger shark chariots. When Bloody Slaughterer Ka Tuor, the leader, was around several thousand meters away from her, Zi Yarrow pitched her voice and shouted unpleasantly. Bloody Slaughterer Ka Tuor, no matter who sends you here, you won't have a happy ending for sure if you have the guts to go against the Dark Firmament Divine Nation. Haha, Your Highness, since I have the guts to come here, I'm not afraid of your Divine Nation's revenge. The bald-headed man grinned fiendishly, as a bloodthirsty gleam sparkled in his eyes. Where are the two ships? If you can be honest and tell me where, I won't harass your body. You can die comfortably. Or else, Not only you will die, I'll do you until you die. His space pirates all had their eyes brightened. Lust appeared visibly on their dirty faces. Some even stretched their bodies, posing vulgar postures. Zi Yarrow paled, talking through her gritted teeth. I will remember you. Mwahahaha, you will remember me indeed, as I will make you not forget me for the rest of your life. Ka Tuor was like a beast in its mating season. His breathing became heavy, and the flame of lust ignited in his eyes. Even his bald head reddened strangely. He licked his lips. Honestly, if it weren't because of your glamour, I wouldn't dare to take risks. Your beauty's fame has been spreading all over the raging Flamestar area. Having you is the last dream of every single man in this area. Ka Tuor's also a man, and I can't help it. Even if your father kills me later, as long as I can taste you today, I won't regret it. Even if I have to die, it's worth. Princess Zi Yarrow felt disgusted as she snorted disdainfully. Go! A gloomy light hit the chariot. The amethyst war chariot flashed, then disappeared like a purple thunderbolt. Instantly, it used a speed much faster than the tiger shark chariots to lengthen the distance between them. Now Shiyang knew why she wasn't scared at all. Turned out that this amethyst chariot was much faster than the tiger shark ships of Ka Tuor's gang. Chapter 735, Lost. Chapter 735, Lost. The amethyst war chariot flew away like a purple lightning strike. Shortly, it got out of the sight of bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor's space pirates. Zi Yarrow sat neatly on her chariot, her visage calm. A cold intent hung on the corner of her mouth. Apparently, she was indignant due to Ka Tuor's dirty words. Shiyang sat down cross-legged. His face was like a stone, showing no emotion. He continued to urge and disperse the energy of the pellet in his entire body. He wanted to restore his peak status in the shortest time, so that he could be able to counter the battle that could happen at any minute. The speed of this amethyst war chariot was much faster than the tiger shark war chariots. It moved like a shuttle between the fatal sunbeams of the solar star exploding fragment field. It flashed and then disappeared. Ka Tuor's space pirates couldn't locate their direction or chase after them. It was hard to use any effective countermeasures. Seeing Zi Yarrow and Shiyang disappear from their sight, the space pirates under Ka Tuor's command were enraged. They roared and thundered evilly, jumping like grasshoppers. Bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor, the leader, was quite calm. He just sneered continually, as if he had some other plans. He wasn't hot-tempered at all. Boss, the human clan's young man with lewd eyes laughed evilly. Seems like Princess Zi Yarrow's famous beauty is real indeed. She's worth the best of the best women in the raging Flamestar area. If we can have her, your reputation will be spreading out all over the raging Flamestar area. The other men will jealous of you to death. Ka Tuor grinned wickedly, as his shiny bald head sparkled. I've crossed thousands of miles this time for this woman. As long as I can have her, even if I have to die in the future, it would be worth it. The young man stooped his head, his face cold and cunning. Then, I have to congrats you in advance. The tiger shark war chariots were moving around, worming through the scorching sunbeams. They weren't in a hurry. The experts under bloody slaughterer Ka Tuor's command scattered, forming a big net formation. They started to move forward from different areas. We've been in this solar star exploding fragment field for a long time. We understand this place better than that woman. Although her war chariots called the purple lightning of the raging Flamestar area, she shouldn't dream about escaping us in this damned solar star exploding fragment field. Ka Tuor rubbed his shiny head. Just let her be contented for a while. Let's see how she can cut me off in this place. So wise, my boss, the young man flattered, causing Ka Tuor to grin. The war chariot called the purple lightning moved swiftly and skillfully inside the solar star exploding fragment field. It looked like a beam of electricity that would be hard to trace. The purple lightning shot rapidly. It could move several thousand miles in just a blink. As it was flexibly gliding between the sunbeams, Shiyang couldn't hold his compliments. He believed that even if he used his max speed to fly with the power of the sun, moon, and stars, he would never be able to catch this purple lightning. Perhaps, only the King God Realm warriors flying at the max speed could catch up with her chariot. Since Ka Tuor was at the third sky of King God Realm, Shi Yang guessed that he had to leave his tiger shark chariot and use his body to fly in outer space to chase after Zi Yao. However, after Shi Yang had used his soul consciousness to sense, he was surprised. The others didn't leave their chariots. The distance between their amethyst chariot and the pirates was getting further and further. They seemed to be giving up, not wanting to pursue them. Frowning, he observed Zi Yao in silence. He found that Zi Yao was still solemn. Her eyes showed her panic instead of the lucky or relaxed feeling for escaping. Shi Yang was astounded. He stopped urging the pellet's medicinal efficacy, lifted his head, and talked to the princess. "We're pretty far from Ka Tuor's gang. Why are you still worried so much? From the difference between the speeds, it's tough for the others to reach us. Why are you still tense?" Zi Yao was in a heavy mood. Listening to his query, she begrudgingly beamed a smile. "It's because you don't know the solar star exploding fragment field. Why do you say that?" The solar star exploding fragment field is much larger than you think. At our speed, it will take at least half a month to get out of this place. She stooped to see Shi Yang sitting cross-legged, as a streak of struggle sparkled in her eyes. "And, that's in the ideal case, if we do not deviate from our direction. However, the most dangerous feature of the solar star exploding fragment field is that it's hard to keep the direction. To those who are unfamiliar with this area, the solar star exploding fragment field is a complex labyrinth." Shi Yang's eyes changed. To those who are unfamiliar with such a massive labyrinth, funny results could be expected. Although we are flying rapidly to leave this place, perhaps we will find out that we've made a big circle and got back to our starting location. Zi Yao sighed grudgingly. "The faster we move, the bigger chance we have to get lost. It will happen because we are moving fast and don't have time to navigate. Usually, we would end up entering some perilous areas. At that time, we have to return and start all over again." "You mean, we will possibly get lost in the center of the solar star exploding fragment field?" "It's not possibly," Zi Yao's face was grim. "We're lost." Shi Yang was surprised. "If we were still in the amethyst battleship and moving at a slow speed, I could figure the right direction. But if we accelerate, it's hard to locate. If we can't locate our own location, it's possible that we will make a big circle and return to the starting point." Her smile faded. Ka Tuor's gang is different. To space pirates, before every affair, the first thing they do is to get used to the area and topography. They will survey all corners of the dangerous area. After that, they will plan their operation. "You mean, Ka Tuor's gang understands the solar star exploding fragment field as clear as the palm of their hands and won't deviate? So, even if we depart first, we won't escape their trap?" "Yes, that's what I meant. Although we can get rid of them for a while, it doesn't mean that we can survive. Since Ka Tuor doesn't hasten to chase after us, I can confirm that he's confident. It also means that his gang has some members that understand the situation of the solar star exploding fragment field thoroughly." Shi Yang nodded, his mood heavy. "Seems like we can't escape easily this time." "Well, it isn't certain." Zi Yao cracked a smile while her beautiful eyes sparkled. "I still have you on my side, right? It's also why I dared to stay. Since you can sense the living fluctuation from an extremely far distance, even if we can't navigate the right direction to get out of the solar star exploding fragment field, we can always avoid Ka Tuor's gang. We can play hide and seek with them in this solar star exploding fragment field. When they find out that they can't catch us, they will abort their operation." "Turns out you didn't want to let me go right from the beginning." Shi Yang smiled but didn't get angry. "If you had left, I would be more passive at this moment. Maybe, I couldn't escape at all." Zi Yao smiled nonchalantly while a strange light rippled from her beautiful eyes. "See, my fortune isn't bad. I had never thought that I could meet a mysterious guy like you. Of course, Ka Tuor hasn't either. Or else, he wouldn't be that serene." "All right, I know what to do." Shi Yang contemplated for a while and then nodded. He slowly closed his eyes, urging the energy from the pellet. In the next period, Shi Yang unceasingly released his soul consciousness, expanding its coverage. He carefully detected any energy fluctuating of living beings in the area. Whenever he sensed streaks of life, he would report Zi Yarrow immediately, so that she could change the direction of the chariot accordingly. Over the period of time, Zi Yarrow didn't hesitate even a moment. She always followed his reminders. They were flying without a fixed route, but still could escape the pursuers many times easily. After this encounter, he did believe in what Zi Yarrow had told him. The others apparently understood the topography of the solar star exploding fragment field pretty well. Although the tiger shark chariots were slow, they could navigate their locations precisely. Sometimes, they almost caught up with Shi Yang's team. After several encounters, Zi Yarrow's confidence was boosted. Smiles appeared on her face again, as she wasn't too worried and anxious. Inside the blazing red meteorolite sea, countless sunbeams weaved, creating a beautiful wonder of the universe. Putting aside the perilous features, this land was a dreamy, marvelous attraction. For the time being, since Zi Yarrow and Shi Yang didn't encounter any lethal danger, they could relax for a while. They stood on the war chariot, watching the wonderful sight of outer space. They were stunned because of the unique glamour of the solar star exploding fragment field. Shi Yang was relaxed and happy, as he could have a chance to watch the mesmerizing attractions of the universe with so many blazing red meteorolites, seeming like suns that illuminated the dark and cold outer space. And he had a graceful woman, whose magnificence was unparalleled, as his company. Suddenly, Shi Yang felt that this dangerous journey had more colors than he could have expected. In this hot ambience, Zi Yarrow was wearing a thin and short dress. Her flawless porcelain-like body was illuminated by the fading sunbeams, revealing an appealing glamour that could disorder people's souls. Seeing her standing in the war chariot with her beautiful and innately noble bearing, others could feel their souls enchanted. Although it was hard to impress Shi Yang with beauty, he couldn't help but feel dizzy on seeing her splendor. Usually, he couldn't control his burning look gazing at the beautiful woman standing next to him as if he wanted to melt her. Shi Yang, I think you were an outstanding warrior in your continent. Have you ever loved a woman in your whole life? Do you know what love tastes like? As Zi Yarrow was watching the magnificent sight, her eyes suddenly became dreamy as if she was sleeping talking. Such taste, how magical it is, can you tell me? Shi Yang was panicked, as his mind was seething like a rising tide that flooded him immediately. He quieted down, sinking in his sea of memory. Long afterward, he started slowly. I have one woman like that. When I was weak, she had been with me through many difficult challenges. However, due to different reasons and struggles, she and I had to be apart. Even if we can meet later, I don't know how to deal with her. Why? Zi Yarrow found it interesting. She turned to him, focusing her bright eyes at him. People always say that nothing can stop love, right? You have a deep love for her. Does she love you the same way? Will she do anything for you? Shi Yang frowned, keeping silent for a long while. He didn't say anything else. Chapter 736. Do you have mental problems? Chapter 736. Do you have mental problems? Why aren't you talking? As Zi Yarrow's curious mind was stirred up, she laughed and pursued the topic. She didn't want to give up just yet. I don't know. After a while, Shi Yang beamed a forced smile and scratched his head. Don't know why she and I have gradually walked on two different roads. We were trying our best for our distinctive families and relatives. We even had disputes. In the end, I won. Her family was smashed. They had to run and hide away. She ran to the unknown outer space. I don't know whether she's alive or not. I don't know if she will hate me when we see each other again. You are cruel. Zi Yarrow was dumbstruck. If you love her, why did you put her family into such pathetic situation? Weren't you able to give them an exit? I couldn't, Shi Yang replied faintly, but his voice was resolute. Zi Yarrow was astounded. She gazed at him for a while and then spoke up again. You sigh. I can tell that women aren't the main part of your life. Women who love you won't have a happy future, because you won't give up your dream or goal for a woman. You will never give up what you want for her. Shi Yang thinned his lips. A gleam of sorrow sparkled in his eyes. You're right. I won't give up my life goal or things that belong to me for a woman. Perhaps. I haven't met a woman who is enough for me to give up and forget everything else. If I like you, will you give up all of your desires and hold my hands forever? Zi Yarrow smiled casually and enchantingly. She spun in front of him, revealing her total glamour. I won't. Why won't you? Will you like me? Shi Yang smiled. You are the princess of the dark firmament divine nation, the bright pearl of the raging flamestar area. You have all kinds of favors you want. You are the goddess in men's hearts and their dreams. I'm just a weak warrior from a low-level continent with no status. Will you consider me? Who can tell exactly? Zi Yarrow parted her lips, forming a smile. If you can continue to break through, or if you are really related to that man, perhaps, my father will agree. Unfortunately, I'm not. I have no relation to that man. Shi Yang smiled miserably. If it happens like that and I fall in love with you. So, will you give up your pursuits for me? Will you stop your pursuit of the martial path to make me happy and pleased every day? Strange light dots sparked from Zi Yarrow's beautiful eyes. She didn't blink, gazing at him. Will you? Shi Yang suddenly quieted down. After a while, he shook his head. I won't. Anger sparked in Zi Yarrow's eyes. Such a cold-hearted man. Shi Yang just smiled, but he didn't reply. Why? Why won't you do it for me? Zi Yarrow still wanted an answer. She patiently continued as embarrassment filled her charming face. Am I not pretty enough? Quite the opposite. Shi Yang looked at her seriously. You are too beautiful, so beautiful that you can't be true. You are like the most exquisite masterpiece of art. Before I met you, I had never thought that I could meet a flawless woman like you in this world. Are you complimenting me? Zi Yarrow smiled, her eyes as beautiful as the new moon. She seemed not angry anymore. So, why won't you love me? Pausing for a while with an odd face, Shi Yang continued, your glamour could arouse the deep desire in a man's heart, making him crazy. However, this beauty will give me an absolute desire for possession. I want to occupy you, making you my unique belonging. I will not let anyone touch you. It's like when a man gets a divine weapon he has yearned for a long time. It's his favorite masterpiece of art. Your charming bearing will surpass all the love you deserve. It will make my desire replace everything. Thus, it's hard to love you, you know. You will never love me. Are you sure? Zi Yarrow clenched her teeth as she was resentful. She felt really annoyed. Yeah, I will not love you. I'm sure I will never love you. Shi Yang nodded affirmatively. Zi Yarrow became more hostile. She gritted her teeth, almost unable to prevent herself from strangling Shi Yang to force him to change his mind. In her life, she had met so many men who vowed to love her for the rest of his life, and to never forget her. Until this moment, she had never met anyone like Shi Yang, a man who told her he would never love her. She suddenly had a feeling of a big loser. She started to doubt her charm, which infuriated her, making her stubbornly want to force Shi Yang to admit his wrong assumption. Why do you need to hold on to it? Shi Yang beamed a faint smile. I think, the ones who want to be with you can fill this whole area, and you should have someone you love, right? Why do you need to get mad at a low-realm, low-status warrior like me? It isn't worth your time. My pursuers are indeed many, much more than you have imagined. Zi Yarrow snorted, lifting her head arrogantly. But, I haven't fallen in love yet. I don't know why I haven't found someone who could make me wholeheartedly give up everything for him. I think I should try. But it's too hard to choose a man. I'm still looking for him. After she had finished, Shi Yang was dumbstruck, his face odd. Do you have any mental problems? For example, you're obsessed with cleanliness. You know, you need treatment. It's a kind of sickness. You are the one who has mental problems. Zi Yarrow was enraged, rolling her eyes at him angrily. Such an asterisk shoal. I don't know why I feel so irritated looking at you now. Tell me, why do I want to punch you so much? Well, this thought is becoming stronger over time. She spoke through her gritted teeth eventually. Shi Yang was surprised. He smiled gingerly and rubbed his nose. He kept his mouth shut, not daring to talk more. No kidding. This woman was at the third sky of King God realm. If she wanted to teach him a lesson, he would have no power to resist. If he got beaten, he couldn't complain, and could only blame himself for being unlucky. At the same time, Shi Yang didn't want to make this woman mad at this moment. I do want to punch you, really. Zi Yarrow's pretty eyes flared as she was about to attack him. She rubbed her jade-like hands energetically, her face bright with enthusiasm. Shi Yang was musing when he said suddenly, I want to cultivate more. I don't have time to play with you. Then, he sat down again, closed his eyes, and accumulated his energy. Zi Yarrow gazed at him, her beautiful eyes sparkling with a strange light. After a while, she held her flat tummy, cracking up with laughter charmingly. Her laughter was so cheerful, her body was shaking as if she were greatly amused. All of her sorrows seemed to be washed away. She felt refreshed and comfortable right now. Interesting. Zi Yarrow muttered as she was quite delighted. Her eyes that were as bright as diamonds were sparkling cunningly. No one knows what plan she had just made. Under a massive burning meteorolite in the solar star exploding fragment field, around 10 tiger shark war chariots were floating. The bald-headed Ka-Tuor was bold and ferocious as he continually thundered in anger. F***ck it. Why can't we blockade them? Impossible. That woman can't be familiar with the solar star exploding fragment field's outline, as she has just come here. How can she be able to dodge us from time to time? The space pirates in his gang kept their mouths shut. No one dared to answer. Even the young human man, who liked to interrupt him, had to stoop miserably. He didn't dare to provoke his boss at this moment. When bloody slaughterer Ka-Tuor was infuriated, he would be extremely wild. He could even slash the one standing in front of him to vent his rage. Everybody knew this bad behavior of his, so no one dared to provoke him when he was angry. If he killed them, it would be their super bad luck. After Ka-Tuor had thundered alone for a while, seeing no response from his henchmen, he stopped eventually, calming himself down. Then, he spoke up, I think we have a problem. That woman can't be much familiar with the situation here. Otherwise, she would have escaped already. As she can always run one step ahead of us, she must have something else to depend on. The biggest possibility is, she can detect us before our operation. She can use soul consciousness to locate us and our direction. My wise boss, seeing him restore his manners, the young human man flattered. If we can avoid their soul consciousness detection, we can catch up with her. They won't be able to run beforehand. Ka-Tuor grinned then nodded. Yeah, we will do that way. Mwahahaha. As we earn a living in outer space, what we know best is to conceal our living energy fluctuation. Well, let that woman widen her knowledge of our tricks then. Boss, what do you plan to do? The young man asked. There are some areas in the solar star exploding fragment field where sunbeams interlace, and soul consciousness can't survey those areas. Although those areas are extremely hazardous, our tiger shark war chariots can still stand for a short time. Ka-Tuor's eyes rolled. To get that woman, we have to damage our tiger sharks a little bit. From now on, brothers, you have to pay more attention. Every time we move, we will hide in those areas. If we don't see her, we will move to another place. Yes, sir. The young man answered, then took out a soundstone to deliver Ka-Tuor's order. Something's wrong. Shi Yang woke up from his cultivation, his face solemn. What? Zi Yarrow furrowed her dark brows. She couldn't help but feel tired. Recently, we haven't needed to dodge them much. I can sense something wrong too. Maybe, they gave us up. It's not that they gave us up. They have changed their tactics certainly. Shi Yang stood up, looking at countless flaming meteorolites in front of him. I don't know why I can't sense their life magnetic field anymore. I can't locate them. Are you sure they aren't too far from us? Zi Yarrow was somber. It's impossible that we can cut them off. Those pirates seem to have disappeared into thin air. If we had lengthened the distance with them, it should have been gradual, not abruptly like right now. Shi Yang shook his head, I think that the others are trying to dodge my soul consciousness sensing. Panic crossed Zi Yaro's eyes as she seemed to remember something. I heard that at the areas where sunbeams are interlacing, there are many places they can use to hide away from the soul consciousness sensing. Some warriors who have been pursued would come to the solar star exploding fragment field and hide there. They would rather consume their energy to resist the lethal sunbeams than being detected. It's obvious that Ka Tuor's gang has done the same. Shi Yang suddenly felt a headache. It's tough now. Seems like our nice days have to end here. Zi Yaro discolored. Chapter 737, Outer Space Godlight. Chapter 737, Outer Space Godlight. The purple lightning was still moving in an unknown direction. But right now, Shi Yang and Zi Yaro weren't as relaxed as before. They both released their soul consciousness to sense, as dangers could appear at any minute. As they knew the others had changed their method of chasing into waiting and ambushing, they started to get nervous and tense. They didn't talk much. Their hearts were still hung up, as they couldn't relax for even a minute. Alas, dangers came faster than they had thought. This day, as their amethyst war chariot was passing a place full of sunbeams, Zi Yaro discolored while using an amethyst ball to sense. She shouted, "Watch out!" Shi Yang looked like he was about to meet his archenemy. Boom! From the place where sunbeams were interlacing in front of them, a torrential, surging flame swept over like a mad dragon. It was so fast that they couldn't react timely. A flow of surging energy burst out from Zi Yaro's tender body as she released her god domain instantly. 7 colored halos appeared in so many water-like layers, covering both of them entirely. The fire dragon was approaching wildly. But as soon as it impacted her god domain, its special dazzling halo dispersed, as if it were torn apart. Zi Yaro's face was serious. Her tender body slightly shivered as she touched a point in the void. An orange-red light was generated from inside her god domain. That light shot forward, dashing 100 miles in just a blink. Under the piercing power of the orange-red light, a tremor occurred at the interweaving point of the lethal sunbeam. Gradually, a tiger shark war chariot came into their sight. More than 10 warriors from different races stood on the tiger shark chariot. They were laughing wickedly and oddly. Their auras were all massive. Under their formidable energies, different kinds of energy attacks and seals combined, turning into an energy wave that naked eye could observe, washing towards Zi Yaro. Zi Yaro was covered tightly in the 7-colored halo, orange-red, cyan, purple, blue, white, green, and yellow in color. Each halo seemed to have different magical effects, and the energy they carried was tremendous. Zi Yaro touched her forehead, and her soul altar started to move in her sea of consciousness. 7-colored light twirled around her body. They became denser and purer like the rainbow in the sky, covering her soft body. Standing inside her magnificent god domain, Zi Yaro put on the solemn countenance as she was circulating the formidable energy in her body according to a special power Upanishad. The 7-colored light turned into 7 ribbons that looked exactly like a real rainbow. They then shot towards the furious oncoming energies and seal attacks. When those energy attacks touched the ribbons made of 7-colored light, they became sluggish and powerless. Their massive energy was drained quickly. Shi Yang's eyes brightened. Looking at Zi Yaro covered in the 7-colored nimbus like a goddess, he was stunned. The main power Upanishad Zi Yaro had been cultivating was the magical light. When she diffused her god domain, the light power would change miraculously like she wanted, bringing out magical effects. From some discussions he had with Du Feng, Shi Yang knew that there were some miracle bunches of light in this world. Some were so sharp that they could pierce through any kind of matter. Some were as soft and tenacious as cotton, that could tie anything. And he also knew that there was kind of light that could melt things into a puddle. Magical light, also called the outer space godlight, could run freely in outer space. Sometimes, they flashed brightly, while it was hard to see them at the other times. Warriors who could understand the mysteries of those lights could receive the godlight Upanishad. If they continued to cultivate it, they would receive tremendous supernatural powers. Outer space godlight was always in motion. It was rare to see them, let alone have a chance to comprehend them. As Xi Yaro's main power was the godlight, it spoke for the fact that she had a great luck to approach the endless godlight and comprehend its mysteries, which would help create the seal of Upanishad imprinted in her soul altar. As it was hard to cultivate, it was indeed powerful. The godlight Upanishad was rare in the raging flamestar area as well. Warriors who could cultivate this power and create the seal of Upanishad were all the warriors with an extreme fortune. At the same time, their learning competence was really prominent. Xi Yaro was that kind of a warrior. The seven-colored godlight turned into 7 beautiful ribbons under her control, entangling with the incoming energies and using them up. She was still calm, concentrating on the space in front of her eyes. The 7-colored light still radiated from her body constantly, as if she were carefully searching something. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. A strange noise arose behind her. A flow of fiercely seething soul zoomed over from the interweaving place of the sunbeams. Right after that, Blood Slaughterer Ka-Tuor appeared with a fiendish grin, roaring and thundering madly. Just like a metal mountain, he didn't care about the brutal sunbeams and dashed in the flaming sea towards her. Obviously, bald-headed Ka-Tuor also had a god domain which was very special. His god domain seemed to be able to absorb bits of remnants of outer space energy. While he was swarming forward, he rolled with him so many tiny pieces of burning rock and remnants of outer space energy, illuminating the whole space. In that fragment of a second, a chaotic energy field appeared around Ka-Tuor, including all kinds of energy remnants, meteorolites, fragments of bodies, and shattered beast crystals. Countless tiny pieces of rock, dark materials, metals, bones, and wood floated around Ka-Tuor, making his aura earth-shakingly tremendous. Ka-Tuor grinned villainously while both his hands pulled and tore the void to condense the debris in his god domain, creating a furious grey energy flood. Just like a whip, it flogged towards Xi Yaro and Shiyang. Xi Yaro turned immediately, as if she had known of his attack beforehand. Her jade-like hand pointed to a place far away. Flows of outer space god light bloomed from her fingers, fiercely thrusting towards the grey flood current. Boom, boom, boom. Ear-piercing explosions reverberated from the impact of the godlight and the grey flood current. Wisps of furious energy shot out like sabers, which made many flaming meteorolites burst off. A dense burning fluid that looked like molten fire oozed out of the flaming meteorolites, showering like a heavy rain. Xi Yaro became solemn, as the 7-colored god light twirled around her body, diffusing the god domain and covering the entire amethyst war chariot. When the flaming fluid fell on her halo, the 7-colored god light would sizzle and shrink. Your Highness, Ka-Tuor sends his regards to you, ha ha. The Blood Slaughterer grinned fiendishly. Inside the chaotic flow of outer space, he was like a big magnet, constantly drawing remnants of energy in the universe. Just like a mountain made of debris, he burst out furiously and started to attack her. At the same time, more and more tiger shark war chariots appeared amidst the weaving sunbeams. Space pirates laughed wickedly and loudly on their chariot. Their eyes were blazing like hungry wolves, gazing fixedly on Xi Yaro's charming body. Their breathing was heavy, as they hated that they couldn't just swarm over and put her on her back. In this raging flamestar area, Princess Xi Yaro was famous for her extraordinary glamour. Any male who had met her fell for her. She was the most beautiful woman in their dreams, who stayed deep in their souls. Those space pirates were the ones who had a life of licking blood from their swords and sabers. They were used to slaughtering, and being licentious and immoral. They could rape the others to satisfy themselves. Many of them were lewd devils. Xi Yaro was the ultimate dream of a man. As she was standing in front of them, she had stirred up the deepest desire in their hearts. It was like they had received a dose of stimulant. They all were madly excited, trying their best to reach near her right when they had arrived. Although Shiyang's face was icy cold, having a storm raging in his heart. Among the pirate group, there were around 10 King God Realm warriors, and the others were at the 2nd and the 3rd sky of True God Realm. Such a force wasn't something Shiyang dared to dream of in the Grace mainland. Compared to those wicked devils, his realm was too low. It was tough for him to give his company a hand. The pirates started to release their god domains one by one, having magical energy waves rippling from their bodies. Inside the god domain, their energy was boosted. Under the control of Power Upanishad, they could create the best martial techniques at any time, striking out with the most lethal attack. And, among those brutal attacks was Blood Slaughterer Ka Tuor's mighty power, which was much stronger than Zi Yaro's. Shi Yang suddenly realized that he was useless in this situation. He didn't know how to help her at all. Seeing different kinds of energy and martial techniques rumblingly attacking them, Shi Yang contemplated and then sat down all of a sudden. He forced himself to quiet down, accumulating all the energy in his body. Zi Yaro didn't have time to mind his action. Seeing the crazy crowd storming towards them, Zi Yaro touched her glabella, her beautiful eyes as bright as stars. Her soul altar appeared at her glabella, spinning and floating above her head. Power's Upanishad on the second tier seethed fiercely, releasing incredible energy fluctuations. Then, beams of seven-colored light shot out like meteors, gathering inside her god domain. The god domain, which was condensed and developed from her god light, expanded rapidly. Shortly, it had covered the area of 100 meters around her. Many beams of seven-colored god light shot out everywhere, as fast as lightning. They tyrannically thrust into the god domains of the King God Realm warriors. The god light pierced through the bodies of the warriors who didn't have a god domain, dispersing their soul altar. King God Realm warriors who had their own god domain captured the intruding god light using the features of their god domain. Then, they used their power to dissolve the god light with different methods, preventing it from dispersing their god domain and damaging their bodies. The huge number of godlight beams attacked Blood Slaughterer Ka Tuor's god domain, which reduced the intensity and coverage of his domain. The chaotic energy made Ka Tuor pause to stabilize his god domain. Zi Yaro's attack had killed at least 10 pirates on the spot and damaged some god domains. Without the protection of the god domain, those who had their god domains dispersed had been wounded severely. Eventually, they had no power left, so they could only curse Zi Yaro with dirty words and ruthless faces. P2E. Zi Yaro spat out mouthful blood, and her charming face paled suddenly. This attack also wounded her. So, she couldn't launch another attack for the time being. At this moment, Shi Yang suddenly opened his eyes, with a freezing cold gleam sparkling in them. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,